or go to painfreelifecenters.com.
Don't be a turtle. Make sure you call today.
That's 248-879-1100 or visit painfreelifecenters.com.
From the great voice of the Great Lakes, this is Paul W. Smith on WJR with Kevin Dietz filling in for Paul.
Good morning and welcome to the Paul W. Smith Show. It is Friday, July the 10th, 2020. We finally got a little bit of rain last night to help fight off the heat wave we've been in for the past several days here in southeastern Michigan, and that's good for the flowers and the grass, and everybody really was hoping for a little bit of rain. The round table is here today and ready to roll. Ann Thomas, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Kev. I love the rain. Bring it on.
I kept thinking it was going to come each night. I'd hear a little thunder and no rain, and it's like, come on, rain, come on, rain. Finally, a little bit last night, which ruined my daughter's backyard fire pit party, but that was fine. I was able to get to bed a little earlier, which was nice. Marie Osborne is here. How are you, Marie?
Hey, good. How are you, Kevin?
I have not seen you in such a long time. I don't think I've seen you since pre-COVID. It's been months. It's so nice to see people again. The world's starting to reopen. Everything good with you?
Everything. Look, everybody's healthy, so it's all good.
All right. I like that. Rich Lazinski's with us today. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Kevin? Nice to see you.
Good. I like that little painting behind you. Did you do that this morning?
Yeah, something I just whipped up.
Very
just
nice.
A little something he has in his collection.
Very nice.
Plagiarism goes a long way, you know.
You're gonna have to whip a little something up for the rest of us here. We're feeling a little behind on our backgrounds.
All you need is a green screen.
I know. It's pretty cool. I actually was playing around with that on StreamYard to see if I could drop one of those in. Uses up a little more of your computer power.
Yeah. Do you have a green screen, Kevin, or would you just put it in with? I know you can do it without, right?
Yeah, you can drop it in either way, with one or without one.
Okay.
There's some software that'll let you do that. Sure, I think that's pretty cool. I didn't know you could do that. I think that's got to be kind of hard with all the different furniture and stuff that you have in the background. Marie, by the way, I think you always look like you're on the set of Downton Abbey. I have to tell you, you have
really?
Yes, you have a very classy living space there back there.
Yeah, well, we clean the joint up. This is my green screen. This is all an illusion.
I love it.
Yeah, ever since the Zoom call, everyone has to keep at least one room clean.
You're right. Exactly.
So true. So true.
Oh, man. So, guys, the word of the day is cancellation. I'm not talking TV shows either. The Ivy League canceled all of their fall sports. Harvard, Princeton, Yale, it's out. The Big Ten announced it's going to be playing in conference only this season, if they play at all. No guarantee they're going to play, but if they do, they're only playing against other Big Ten schools. And the governor has come out and said, look, if we don't get this thing corrected, school may be canceled as well. So what's more important, that we have football games or that the kids go back to school? And what do you think?
Both.
We need them both. Marie,
we need them both.
Well, sports is not, I'm not a big sports person, but so I think school is, absolutely paramount to consider our kids for sure. And I know how important sports is. I understand.
Rich, do we have to get the kids out of the house, or do we got to get the football on the big screen? What do we need?
I would imagine that all summer the kids have been out of the house. What else can they do but play in the backyard, and do things like that, as long as they're not going over to other people's houses and rummaging through their space. I think, but education, like Marie says, is paramount. They've been cutting stuff for arts programs and stuff go out the window all the time. It's just a little different with sports because people aren't used to it.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, well, when the weather was bad here and everyone was stuck in the house, people were ready to ship their kids off to school for sure. They're pulling their hair out, homeschooling and all of that. I know as the weather turns, it's going to be tough if the kids are back in the house all the time. But it has been tough without sports too. I know everybody wants to see Big Ten football, and we're going to be talking to the commissioner of the Big Ten at 7:45 this morning, so you'll want to stay with us for that. You're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. Let's check in with traffic and weather.
This report is sponsored by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
WJR Traffic First is also sponsored by the Construction Association of Michigan. Are you a construction contractor looking to grow or a developer looking for a contractor? The Construction Association of Michigan, CAM, can help you work together to get the project done right. One industry, one resource, one CAM. Check them out at buildwithcam.com. Major freeways are looking just fine at the moment. Newburgh Road southbound is closed between Schoolcraft and I-96 due to a broken water main. And an earlier accident has closed 7 Mile between the Southfield Freeway and Greenfield Road. Now WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Clarkston Window and Door. Over 31 years in business, over 450 combined years of experience installing windows. Trust the specialists at Clarkston Window and Door. Act now to take advantage of 31% off installed windows, doors, and garage doors. 248-338-6781 or clarkstonwindow.com. Here's your forecast.
Couple of lines of showers and thunderstorms coming through. One as we head through this morning and maybe a few more as we go through this afternoon and this evening. It doesn't rain every hour of the day, but those storms, when they come through, could have some gusty winds and hail, heavy rainfall, even a slight risk of a tornado. Today's high 86. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are still possible tonight, low 68. Gusty northwest wind tomorrow as the front does go through. Showers early, then partly cloudy in the afternoon, 84. Sunday clouds, sun 83. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic on News Talk 760 WJR.
It's 5:43. Let's check in with Rush Limbaugh.
A 10-year saga thankfully come to a close. That's how long the Little Sisters of the Poor nuns have been fighting Obamacare's mandate to provide contraception in their health care plans. It goes against their Catholic faith. So finally on Wednesday, the Supreme Court upheld President Trump's executive order exempting the nuns from Obama's mandate. For 150 years, Little Sisters of the Poor nuns have run homes serving elderly people in poverty. The Democrats who passed Obamacare refused to acknowledge that as a religious order, the Little Sisters could not be forced to provide services that violate their religious beliefs. Writing the majority opinion, Justice Clarence Thomas said the Trump administration had the authority to provide exceptions for religious and conscientious objections. He said the statute in plain language, allowed the administration to make religious and moral exemptions. Now, this decision, it wasn't even close. It was 7-2. Only the leftist justices Ginsburg and Sotomayor dissented. They're mad at the court's zeal to secure religious rights to the nth degree. But they're really mad at the First Amendment, which states that Congress cannot make laws that infringe on religious freedoms. The right thing was done here, even though it took 10 years. It's clear to anybody who respects the Constitution that Obama never had the power to impose this mandate in the first place.
Rush Limbaugh, noon to 3 today, right here on WJR.
So, Kevin, when we come back, what's your opinion about this? Do you think, I mean, you've got kids that are going back to school, so this really affects you.
Well, yeah, I mean, for my college, my kids are in college. And I feel really bad that they're missing out on that experience. I feel really bad that I'm paying the full bill for them to miss out on that experience. But but they're adults. They can deal with it. I think it's those little kids, fifth graders and sixth graders and seventh graders missing all their friends and missing all of that. I think is really tough.
Yeah. But, there's still the worry with regard to the college situation of the college kids coming back to you at Thanksgiving and maybe not feeling so well.
Back. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I don't know how you welcome them back and then just bury them, in their room for 14 days.
At Thanksgiving.
Right.
Yeah. Or the weekends, when they come back.
And that's the thing. I mean, you get the whole family together at the holidays. If this thing's spreading all through the colleges and universities, and then everyone comes back and grandma and grandpa are over, it's just Florida's really spiking. It's crazy.
Florida, Texas.
I wonder if there's a scenario even where the kids go back to college, go back to school, and it becomes so bad that they're quarantined at their schools. Can you imagine that?
Oh.
Yeah, but I was
can't
thinking.
imagine that.
Oh,
Hey, Rich Bob Dorimo says that you're selling fake art. Are you part of that Traverse City art ring up there?
yeah. Hey, Ann, how come I can't see the comments on? It used to be where I could see some of the comments.
There's
roll
private
through.
chat and then live comments if you switch back and forth.
Yeah, you got
see
to.
the two words
You
up at
might
the
be
bottom.
on private chat. So if you go look over on the right, there's comments, and then there's private chat. So if
Well,
you click
know
on
what?
comments,
I'm doing this on my cell phone. Remember, I don't have a camera on the
Oh.
laptop.
oh,
So
that.
I'm using my cell phone. That's all right.
Well,
I
I'll
just
tell you why. I'll tell you.
sometimes it's fun to
Here,
watch
I'll
those.
put some of these in here for you. Hang on a second. And let me start. We've had people up for quite a while. Ron was the first one up.
Oh, here we go.
Yep, there's Ron.
Yeah, hey Ron.
Patrick. Clay. Clay's always with us. Good morning. Bob's the one teasing Rich.
Yeah.
Mike, good morning, Mike. Mike gets up with us every day. And let's see here. So does Maria. Good morning, Maria.
Yeah, we've had her on board.
And
before as
Trish. And there's Patrick.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
Hello.
There you are, Kev. Good morning,
lost you
Kevin
there for a
Dietz.
sec.
Hello. Are we back on air yet?
Yes, we are back. You faded out. We just saw a little circle.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I can't
we,
hear
had-
Kevin now.
We had a little live streaming issue there. I think the Wi-Fi was off, so I popped back onto a stronger one. Maria, are you with us now?
I'm hearing you through my headset, not through my ear. So
The world of Wi-Fi.
yeah.
Kind of crazy.
Maybe the rain
so-
stirred us up overnight.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we're back on WJR and on Facebook, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Paul W. Smith Show. I wanted to play a little audio, if I can, from the interview that was on Channel 7 last night with Julian Wustenberg. That was the white woman who was charged with pulling a gun during a verbal argument outside an Oakland County restaurant with an African-American family. You guys all saw that and talked about that. It seems the whole world was watching that. She told some of her story to Jim Kurtzner last night. Let me see if I can play some of that here.
There are a lot of facts that are missing, a lot of things that have only been seen from one side and not through our eyes.
What are those in your mind?
This was just an attack, pure and simple, from the other side. We were berated. Our race was brought into it. We tried to leave multiple times. I didn't want to fight. I didn't want an argument. I just wanted to go home to my children, and I feed my children. This is not something that we wanted at all.
Did you bump the daughter?
So I'll just kind of stop it there. It was a 13-minute interview, but essentially her attorney, Terry Johnson, thought that that the other family should have been charged in this case. And the attorney for the Hill family said that it was absolutely wrong and inappropriate for her to aim that weapon at the family. And what was interesting is her attorney is actually a guns instructor. And he was explaining that when you get your concealed carry permit, you go through all the various training. And there's been a lot of debate about whether or not you are supposed to aim a gun at anyone, or when you're supposed to aim a gun at anyone. And of course, they've been charged, the Wustenbergs have been charged by Oakland County Prosecutor Jessica Cooper that case is proceeding. But it was interesting to see, defendants don't always talk before a hearing, but they sat down and talked about their side of things, and they essentially basically said that they felt scared and they felt threatened, and that's why they ultimately pulled the weapons. But just quite a case, and people still all across the country are kind of debating it and talking about it. And one thing both attorneys said was just how angry the world is and how difficult and upsetting all of this is, because people are on edge and so upset.
That's a good point. So, Kevin, what was the first point of meeting for this group? They were in, what happened? They were in a parking lot?
Yes.
No,
So
it started at the door, right, Kevin?
Yeah, right. The Westenbergs were going in to pick up a to-go order, and they had a big to-go order, and the other family was walking in, and Julian Westenberg bumped into the 15-year-old girl, or that's what the 15-year-old girl said, "You bumped into me, why'd you do that? You need to apologize." And that's where the argument started to escalate. And the Westenbergs said they tried to de-escalate, and the rest is all on that video, which you can kind of watch, but it's it definitely does. It really goes off when somebody comes behind the car and either hits the back window of the car or the car backs up into them. They'll be debating exactly what happened there, but that's when Mr. Westenberg put the car in park and jumped out, and the rest happened where the guns were pulled. And he lost his job at Oakland University, right, Marie? Is that where he was, I believe?
I believe so. I watched that whole interview with Jim Kirchner last night, and I just, I see it like you do, Kevin, because through reporter's eyes, and I just thought she was very vague about that first contact and what happened there. And so I hope in court that comes out to be that they delve into that to really see what happened, because I think more happened there than she let on in this. That's just my personal opinion in watching the interview, that something more happened during that initial contact, and she kind of brushed over it. And Jim asked her about it again, but she still brushed over it again. And so I think there was a little more that happened at that initial contact that maybe she was letting on. And she kept stressing how she loves everybody. She loves everybody. And that was another thing during the interview that I thought was a little unusual.
Although she did, in the original cell phone video, she did kind of roll down the window and express that kind of idea too. She's like, "I'm not racist. I love everybody." Kind of in the heat of the moment, she kind of expressed that as well. I'd like to know if they had some surveillance video from the restaurant just to get that initial contact. Yeah. But yeah, I think something definitely happened to spark that off. That didn't just start out of thin air, two people passing out the door.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be a case that everybody is watching, and both attorneys have been very vocal, and it's definitely very interesting. And in fact, I think we're going to have both of those attorneys on the show next week, so we can get into that. You're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. It's July 10th, 2020. Let's check weather and traffic with Rich Lazinski.
This report is sponsored by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
WJR Traffic First is sponsored by the Restore Wellness Center. Tired of dealing with nagging body pain? The Restore Wellness Center will reduce the pain and scar tissue, improve blood flow, nerve function, and muscle stimulation. The state's best non-invasive laser therapy treatments will reduce your pain. Call 800-935-5959 in Brighton, Shelby, and Bloomfield, or restorewellnesscenter.com. Major freeways are looking good. We do have an earlier accident that's closed 7 mile between the Southfield Freeway and Greenfield Road. Now WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by North Bloomfield Properties. If you're looking for a place to call home, Let North Bloomfield Properties find the best place for you and your family. They also provide pre-screened quality tenants to their property owners. They love to match good people to good homes. Contact them today, northbloomfield.com. Also sponsored by Starline Mackinac Island Ferry. Hightail it to Mackinac Island on a Starline Hydrojet or Catamaran Ferry, and now a new pirate ship, the Good Fortune. Starline offers the largest open-air boats, disinfected before every trip, with fares starting at $19. Get discount tickets and vacation packages at MackinacFerry.com. That's MackinacFerry.com. Isolated thunderstorms at 76 degrees. I'm Rich Luzinski, WJR News in a minute and a half.
So, Kevin, that does go to the issue, though, of how angry people are. I mean, that should never have happened. It's just crazy how people are so, oh my gosh, they're angry, they're divided. It must be like the underlying stress of not knowing what's going to happen with a lot of things, including coronavirus.
Yeah, it seems like it looks, when it happens, when it blows up, it looks like it's just one thing, but I don't think it is. I think people have all kinds of stresses going on, whether it's financial, whether whether it's worried about being sick or worried about someone they love being sick. I was talking to one of my kids. They're stressed out about work. They want to be at the office. They're younger and they want the support of managers and things like that, but they're working from home, and they're like, I'm 25. I'm not, I want to be at the office. I don't want to work from home, Right. And there's just a lot of things stressing people out, and the financial part's going to be real tough too, because I don't think the stimulus money is going to go forever here. It's going to run out, and there's going to be, people are really going to have to tighten their belts. It's going to be tough. But yeah, I think everywhere you go, you just kind of smile and say hello, and but people are definitely upset. I mean, and I don't know. I've been out and about more, and it's good to see as many people out and starting to get back into the swing of things. It's just also a little scary as those numbers pop back up, and I think people are pretty stressed out about whether or not we're all going to go back. Are they going to, if the numbers really go up, is everything going to lock down again? People are like, I'm not going back to that. I'm not doing it, So I don't know. It's really.
Well, Marie was saying yesterday she's got a friend who owns a store in Royal Oak. I think it might be like a clothing accessories store. And her friend was basically like, if we have to go back, I'm not. I have got to run this business. Now, I would be willing to run it a little bit differently, but I can't shut this business down again. So I think there's a couple things that we're going to have to figure out in this community, society. And it's number one, how can we go back and get busy again safely? Really, we can't just stay inside forever. It's not good for people. And then
go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, these small businesses, I don't know that they can stay open and operate with. I go into them and it's like, this table you can't use and this table you can, and half their space is off limits, and I don't think they have the margins to be able to pull it off. I mean, small business owners, especially like restaurants and things like that, I mean, that is a stressful life too. The freezer breaks down and it's a huge problem. Someone calls in sick, it's a huge problem. And it's like, yeah, people need to go back, but I don't even know if going back is going to work for everybody.
No, I agree. Plus, the other thing is, if some of the stimulus money goes away, which we know it's going to, because there's going to have to be an incentive to have people get back to work. A lot of people, especially the younger groups that are, working at restaurants, the restaurant critic. We had Mark Kurlianchik on yesterday, and he was talking about the fact that there are so many restaurant workers that don't want to go back because
they don't want to get sick, or because
they don't want it. It's tough work. And they don't want to get sick, So there's that whole issue too. Like, some people are going to have to go back because they need the money, but it's going to be more stress, I guess.
And sometimes then it's the most vulnerable who go back, because the seniors who need the money, they need money for their medicine. They need money. They are going back and taking some of these jobs that were going unfilled
That's a
by
great
younger people.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't even think about that. Holy cow. Yeah.
Mhm.
People on fixed incomes and stuff like that. Oh yeah, all of that factors in. Have you guys been to a restaurant yet? Have you folks been to a restaurant since they've reopened?
I
Yeah,
have been to one. What about you, Kev?
Yeah, I met I met at one up at Gaylord, and it was a pretty weird experience. And then I was at one down here, and it was just like the Kirby's Coney Island, which is like the place we always went. And we've been there, and that seemed pretty fine and normal, although every other table was off. But they had young kids working and whatnot, and so you're thinking about you're getting your food served to you, and you think about those pictures of everybody at Torch Lake this weekend, and you're like, oh boy, what's for dinner?
Isn't it strange though that you have something that you've done all your life, and now there's this odd mystique about it? Like I almost felt guilty kind of being there, enjoying myself. It's very strange, I think.
We went to the Legs Inn up
Yeah,
just outside of Harbor Springs.
That's all open in the back though, right? They have that big space where you can spread out.
We did eat inside in the back, and it was pretty open. You had to wear a mask inside, and then when you sat down at the table, you could take the mask off. But then if you got up at all, you had to put the mask back on. So I thought it was very well done.
How long was the wait? Was there a big crowd?
We went for lunch and we had to wait. Yes, it was a big
Wow.
crowd.
I mean, that place you
The
always
food
have
is
to wait.
spectacular.
Yeah,
So good.
that's like Red Coat Tavern always has a line too.
Yes, another good spot. So it's definitely an experience.
Did you say Red Coat Tavern, Kevin? Is
I
that what
did.
you
Yeah.
said?
Yeah.
Is that where you
yeah.
went the other day? We did
No,
carry out there,
we've
but
been
we
getting
haven't been in
takeout
there.
from there. Yeah.
We did
Actually,
takeout too.
Yeah.
I went to I went to a meeting there, and I didn't eat, but we had about 8 people at a table at a meeting. I don't know.
From the great voice of the Great Lakes, this is Paul W. Smith on WJR with Kevin Dietz filling in for Paul.
Hospitals are filling up again in Florida with COVID-19 patients, and on Saturday, Disney will welcome guests back to its flagship theme park in Orlando, Florida, and reopen a cornerstone of its business, the Disney Resort. It plans to begin phased-in reopening on Saturday for its Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom parks, followed by Epcot and Hollywood Studios on July 15th. So the roundtable is here, and I'm wondering who's buying a ticket to ride, guys. And you ready to go to Disney, get on a roller coaster with a 1,000 screaming people, strangers?
I'm not ready for that.
No.
No.
I think we're going to get a round table of no's. Marie, you ready for Disney?
No.
No. Rich?
No.
Oh yeah, I'll be in line. No,
All right. Someone's got to be brave. If you're brave enough to go on the roller coasters, you got to be brave enough to go down there. But it brings up the point about opening and closing and your mental state of mind, guys. I like the idea of Disney opening. To me, it is like, okay, we're coming back. If Disney's opening, we're rounding the corner. But I don't feel that way at all right now with everything else that's going on, with the numbers we're seeing going up, with our governor saying, hey, the way things are going, school's iffy. College is coming out and saying, don't count on sports. It may not happen. So when I see Disney opening today, instead of being kind of excited about it, I'm more like, for how long, Right.
I just think that the reopening has happened, and they did expect, I mean, even Fauci said this, they did expect an uptick in cases. They did not expect this many new cases. So I think this is the surprise, and this is what's got everybody on edge, is the number of new cases at the reopening here.
Yeah, and it seems like now as you know, the 4th of July holiday, groups of people were getting together, families were getting together, and the numbers are just spiking, you know, and you see people being, you know, pretty much reckless, you know, when hundreds of people are packed together on beaches with strangers. You expect the numbers to go up. And I guess at that point, the people who are living their life that way, they're okay catching it. I'm guessing that they realize that they're likely to catch it, and they've just decided, I'm going to catch it and move on and deal with it. You know, they look at it like it's a bad flu. We're just gonna go with this. But when you open Disney or the theme parks, you're talking about putting a bunch of employees, you know, out there with crowds, and it's tricky, you know. And I think of that just when you go to the grocery store or whatnot, and you're like, oh, well, all right, I'm coming here by choice to get food, and I can get in and out as quickly as I can. But the workers are there all day, you know, they're there for 8 or 10 hours as, you know, hundreds of different people stream in. And it's a little scary. I don't know. I feel like some of these major companies are going to have to open and then close, and then when can they really open again, or when do you guys start to feel safe? You were talking a little bit about going back to restaurants.
Right. So what about the Disney experience? How are they going to make it safe? Are they limiting the number of people that are going into the parks? Are they limiting the number of people on rides, or how are they going to make that work?
All of that. They have a plan, you know, in place, and they have, you know, like the grocery store where you have lines painted to stay a certain amount apart from each other, limit the number of people that can come into the park, and you try and keep them spread out, which, you know, I guess people are getting used to that in grocery stores. You know, they're one way aisles at grocery stores, and you wait at the checkout, and I guess you can get used to social distancing. It's just, are you going to do it? Are you going to drop that kind of money to go to Disney? I mean, it's very expensive, you know, take a family of 4 to Disney and then social distance. And then, you know, you let the family stay together or not. And you were talking about restaurants earlier. Up north, I went to a restaurant, and they only let 4 people sit at a table, and we were a table of 6. So 2 people went off and sat separately, you know, which was okay if it helps, but it didn't make a lot of sense because we were all in the same family, you know, so we all got back in the same car and then left together.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, so it's just different. So you're still kind of on the honor system out there in the world, you know, no matter what Disney says you need to do or what restaurants say you need to do. It's, you know, it's just, it's how safe are you being to protect yourself, and how courteous are you of the other people who are out there? Are you keeping a distance and wearing a mask to keep other people safe?
And the money shot is going to be Snow White with a mask on.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
True.
There was a Major League Baseball put out a baseball card this week with Mike Trout, who's one of the big stars, and he's wearing a mask. I don't, you know, so they were in spring training or whatever they were doing, but you know, it's just all of a sudden this baseball card comes out and there's a picture of a mask, and you're like, oh, you know, so it's I guess it's going to be the new norm. I don't know. Do you guys remember watching, I think like Michael Jackson, he used to wear a mask all the time, you know, and people are like, come on, you know, what's going on?
What are you doing? Well,
Yeah,
you know,
then you'd see.
the other interesting question this morning, especially for your guest, Kevin Warren, is going to be, will any fans be allowed in the college stadiums this fall? What does the group think?
I don't think they're going to do it at college. I just don't. Maybe the families of the players maybe will be allowed to come.
Yeah. I can't imagine them packing those stadiums, Ann, or even with social distancing in the stadiums. How is that going to work? I just don't see that.
You like to scream at a sporting event. You like to, you know,
exactly.
You're very animated. There's a lot of droplets going out there.
Yeah, I mean, even the the referees and the players and the coaches. You look at the coaches yelling at the referees. It's like,
Right.
oh, stand back, hold on. So I don't know how you can do the stance, even though you are outside. It's like like a park setting. You could separate people, but I don't know. I think they're in college. They're going to just have to play on the safe side. They got to at least have the impression that they're trying to keep people safe in the colleges, right? But
Sure.
if the kids are at school, I don't know how they're going to do that in the dorms or the cafeteria. So why not let them go to the games?
I'm sure
The
that's
dorms
one of
is
the
a huge
conversations,
question.
right? The
Yeah.
dorms are another issue.
It's gonna be something. You're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. Let's check weather and traffic with Rich Lazinski.
This report is sponsored by Dell.
Refresh your business tech during Dell Technologies Cyber Savings Event with up to 50% off Windows 10 laptops, desktops, and servers, plus top electronics. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 10 Pro for business. Call 877-ASK-DELL for a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find the right tech.
Accident-free right now. Newburgh southbound is closed between Schoolcraft and I-96 due to a broken water main. And an earlier accident has closed 7 Mile between the Southfield Freeway and Greenfield Road. Now WJR weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Starline Mackinac Island Ferry. Hightail at the Mackinac Island on a Starline Hydrojet or catamaran ferry. And now a new pirate ship, the Good Fortune. Starline offers the largest open-air boats disinfected before every trip, with fares starting at $19. Get discount tickets and vacation packages at MackinacFerry.com. That's MackinacFerry.com. Here's your forecast.
We'll crank out some thunderstorms off to the west. Seen some come through west to east this morning, especially mid to late morning. This afternoon, more showers and thunderstorms are possible. Gusty winds and small hail. Some heavy downpours in, even mix in a slight tornado risk, 86 degrees. Thunderstorms early tonight. Still a chance overnight, 68. And the front will go through tomorrow morning with a few showers, partly cloudy. Actually pretty nice and breezy in the afternoon, 84. Sunday clouds, sun, 83. From the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray staging on News Talk 760 WJR.
I'm going to bow out here. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
Yes,
I'm
you
not
can.
sure. Okay.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
I'll be back at the bottom, though, because I think that's the only way I can talk to Kevin.
Perfect.
Yes,
Right? Okay.
you can do
Got
that.
it.
Yep.
All right.
Hop in whenever you like.
Pop in. I'm going backstage. So, Kev, right here, we're just going to run our Opportunity Detroit piece.
Do I throw to it, or does it just automatically? Does Brian just take it, or do
I think Brian may just actually coming right out of the commercials. I think he may just go right to it. Let's see what he's telling us. He says he'll just go right to it.
Okay, great. So
I think that works out.
We can chat on Facebook all the way to 6:35. Is that right?
Yes, we could actually. That's exactly what we can do.
Right.
If we wanted, we could have Brian bring up that interview. Brian says that's what we did yesterday, and it sounded fine. Yes, so that works. Or we can bring up that interview if you like. So now your connection's better.
Mine?
Yes.
Yeah. So what's weird is, or I don't know, but for me on my Wi-Fi, there's like two choices in my house. There's like it's like 2.4 or 5,
Oh.
and I guess in different rooms they work better. So I'm in this room, I'm always on 2.4, and it's always really strong. It's great. But for some reason, it will jump from one to the other on me, or it'll go to direct. So like I keep an eye on it. I tried during the break to pop over to make sure I'm still on the same Wi-Fi, because when it went down, it had jumped to the other Wi-Fi and then disappeared.
Oh, that's
which is weird.
Now,
and I don't know
Brian,
if that's the hot weather or what, because it looked like Marie had some Wi-Fi issues for a minute there too.
she does. I'm wondering if it's wet weather, like humid. I mean, I've seen that happen in the wet weather. But Brian says the less people on the stream, the better audio. I've seen it though, where you've had a big group of people on the stream and the audio was pretty good. But even Rich's audio, or even Rich's connection today is a little bit shaky.
Yeah, it might be the weather. I know that like at my house, for instance, like if you turn on your smart TVs and even your phone Wi-Fi, all of that will pull from it. So the more Wi-Fi you have going, the worse it is. So I make sure the TVs are off and there's not 50 computers going in the house or whatever. It does all pull. It weakens the strength the more that's on it.
The more that's on the system.
Yeah.
So Anne Marie is asking where Paul is. Paul is under the weather, Anne Marie. So we told him to take a couple days off to feel better. So
Yeah,
hopefully.
he's almost never under the weather.
I know. Well, he's like he works hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think he needs to take a break.
Yeah, that's good. Good. He deserves it. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yay, technology, right, Pat? Yeah. It's nice. I like the live stream. I do. I like seeing everybody. Even at the station, like Marie's over in a studio and traffic somewhere else. So you really don't see them. I like the live stream. I like
having the game.
Everybody, but you have a bit of uncertainty at all times, like it's going to drop off. Versus when you're in the studio, it's going to work, or you think it's going to work, or if it doesn't work, it's not your fault.
Right. When we're running, it's kind of a different story. So how was the up north experience, Kev? What did you think?
Overall, you mean
overall, like driving up? Did you stop at a rest stop? First question.
Yeah. So we stopped at like a gas station that had a McDonald's or Arby's or something like that, and everyone used the restroom. That seemed fine. There's everyone had their shields up and all of that seemed fine. I remember in the beginning, like if we ordered food to go, we were putting the boxes in the microwave because we didn't want to touch anything. So we kind of let that go, but we have sanitizer in the car and stuff. So you're sanitize, you're washing your hands is, pretty much. But the restaurants, it's so funny because we were at Legs Inn too. I forgot that we had gone over there until you had said that. And that was a weird thing because there was 100 people waiting to go into that place. And I'm like, why are we going here? There's got to be, I love Legs Inn, but there's got to be 100 other places, right? But then they said, well, if you walk around back here, it's really open, and how beautiful that view is in the back there. Yeah. But people were really spread out back there. And so we never really were near anybody except our own group at Legs Inn. Yeah. But inside, if you used the restroom, you could see there was, a lot of people and it was, I don't know, it's kind of just different, but then we were with family from that also came up from Grand Rapids, so we were with them for the week, so you just don't know, so I've not been to my parents since I've been back, and I won't go for the 14 days, but 14 days, you never really know.
I know. I was thinking that we should do the same as, not do too much after coming back. Just because you don't know.
Right.
And so you don't want to take any chances.
Or even, like whatever, you go see your parents, you wear the masks and you social distance because you were around other people. But now I feel like I'm almost never 14 days without being around somebody because things are opening up more. You're doing stuff. Morning, Clint Forster. How are you? Early birds. You just get up. We've been up for hours.
So
UP travel advice. I bet he's going to the UP. That'll be probably socially distanced.
Clint. One of the things I noticed was because Dave Lorenz had recommended that we do this. So this is what we did. Mm-hmm. He recommended stopping at the restrooms, like the Michigan restrooms, the actual rest stops, right?
Yeah.
Because he said they're cleaned regularly. They're pretty mm-hmm. safe. So on the way up, we stopped at one kind of around West Branch-ish. I can't remember exactly, but somewhere in there. Every single person A lot of social distancing, and everybody had a mask on, and you felt really comfortable, and you weren't touching a lot of stuff because the doors are open, as you go. So it just felt very comfortable. On the way back, though, we stopped at one that was closer, like maybe toward the Flint, Howell, somewhere in that area. And a lot of people and nobody in a mask, and so it's kind of interesting, the different parts of the state.
Early up north, nobody was wearing a mask up north. It seemed like, though, as the crowds came up over the 4th, more and more people were wearing the mask. Like maybe they're wearing the mask up north when they know the crowds are bigger, on the bigger weekends. Because the first, I've been up like 3 times, 4 times this summer already. And early on, like when, nobody was, I had mask on and I was the only one, like when you went into a gas station or something like that. So yeah, that'll be interesting. You were at 6:35. Chris Shiny's coming on. He owns Sweet Spots ice cream store. So that's like a little place where people would come in, and it'll be interesting to see if they require masks, what they do to make the people feel like it's clean. Are they, how often are they cleaning, things like that, to see what, what that's like from the other side, from their side, when people are coming at them instead of us coming into their world. We're coming into their world. Tracy, Gary, how are you? I haven't seen you in forever. I hope you're well. It's nice to see you.
My cousin Georgia is awake this morning, and Georgia has a place up north, and she's saying how long the lines are for carry out and at fast food, even worse up north. Yes, I'm definitely seeing that. It seems like people are pretty comfortable, a lot more comfortable with carry out than they are eating in.
Yeah, well, for a long stretch there, everybody was eating every meal inside. Everybody was really cooking again and sitting down for family dinners. And now that things are opening up, I noticed we're ordering out again.
We're too.
Eating out more. I guess we can say we're helping the economy. I think we're just tired of cooking and doing dishes.
It's both, Kevin. It's both. Say it's both. Yeah, we definitely, for a long time, we were just cooking ourselves. And my husband is a great cook, and it was fine. It was great. But you do get kind of tired of that. You do kind of say, oh, I'd love to just have a night where we don't have to do any work. So I think a lot of people are starting to do that. Now, they're asking, a lot of our Facebook listeners are asking about the Port Huron to Mackinac race.
Our Facebook people are viewers, and
oh, I'm sorry, Kev. I'm a radio person.
I know.
I got to get that in my head.
It's tricky. Yeah. Do you know if the race is happening?
Yes. So we have one of our engineers, Ray Templin, is races.
Yeah. He loves it.
He loves it. So Ray is on a boat, but he was telling us that it's not nearly as big as it was. You have to stay. They're going to have to stay in the U.S. waters, and there's going to be a lot of social distancing, and when they get up to Mackinac, things are going to be no big parties or anything like that. But yes, and then Clay, one of our viewers, says the annual sailboat race is being held. Yes, but we are not. We're not doing reports, JRs, and we'll keep you posted on the winners and that kind of thing, but we're not doing the regular reports because I think it's really scaled down.
Okay.
So.
I've been to that a couple of times, and man, that is a festive, fun time. So that, like they're talking about football games without fans, sailing without the people and the parties, it'll be different, and not for those competing. I guess they're in it to win it, but it's definitely going to be different. Anne Marie said she was Mackinac last week. It was good, few people and lots of masks. I wonder, Anne, did you go over? I wonder if Anne Marie went over to the island and what it's like on the boat, if they're do they sit every other seat on those boats, because those ferries get pretty crowded going back and forth. It's easy to spread out once you're there, probably, or easier. But
so my cousin Georgia says Petoskey, everyone's wearing masks, and when we were in Harbor Springs, everyone had a mask on. So going to the boat issue, Kev, we had Chris Shepler on. We've actually talked to both Starline and Shepler's. And so after every single ride, they are doing that fogging cleaning.
Oh, yeah.
So they're doing that. I don't know how they're seating the passengers, though. I would love to know from somebody if anybody's gone over and how they're seating the passengers. If it's every other seat, because it's kind of crowded in those boats.
For sure.
But Jerry Fetty is the Starline CEO. And Chris Shepler, of course, is with Shepler's. And they both are very, very, confident that they're doing a lot to try to keep passengers safe.
Yeah, so Steve says that they've gone to restaurants 4 times this past week. Olive Garden with a group of 11 inside. That's a big group. Mexican Fiesta with 2. Great Restaurant M59 outside with 8, and another outside along with our dog. So they were well attended and everything went well. So they're out and about. The Swaggerty families are out and about eating out. The spread of the virus, it seems like if you wear your mask and wash your hands, you're pretty good. And they keep updating, people, the scientists keep saying, they're learning more and more every month as they find different things out, but they really do feel like the masks are helping.
By a pretty significant percentage.
Patrick says Starline was busy the last ride back. The last ride back. If you don't catch the last boat, you don't get off the island. You have to stay overnight. So I wonder if they limit that last boat if you get stuck on the island. I only know that because I've missed the last boat beforehand.
Have you really?
Yeah.
So did you have to stay on the island?
Yeah. It's like, oh, the last boat, we got to get there. You race to the docks, run into the docks, and you look up, and the boat is sailing off, and you're like, uh-oh. Not going to make curfew.
What happens if you, what happened? Did you have to go find a hotel?
Actually, we knew people who had boats there. And we stayed on the boat, but yeah, that's what you'd have to do. They don't. I don't know what they do if the boat's full and then, sorry, that's the end. You should have got here earlier. I don't know how harsh it is, but they don't make extra runs. That's it. The pirate ship was spaced good going under the bridge trip. Okay, that's good. So they're figuring it out. But yeah, we picked up food from a Mexican restaurant last night, and it was completely empty. I mean, it was open for business inside, but there was no cars there. No one was eating there, and no one was picking up food. It just goes through my head. I don't know how these small businesses are able to survive.
Keep going, right? It's going to be very interesting. And you want to try to support them as much as possible because it's important that they keep going.
Oh yeah, no, I know every customer counts, and I don't know. They're talking about more money for more PPP money. They're trying to figure it out, but my gosh, it's trillions of dollars. It's going to be. It's tough, man. And I wonder what they're going to. I wonder what happens next year. They're talking. Did you see all the money they're spending on companies to come up with vaccines? They've got 3 or 4 companies now that they've given billions of dollars to try and come up with something. So it's like they got 4 or 5 horses in the race trying to figure out a vaccine that will work. So they're really pouring money at that. I guess they figure that's the only real answer here.
But what do you think about that? Would you get a vaccine?
I wouldn't want to be first. I feel like it's like the flu vaccine, which I do get, but I always feel like it's going to give me the flu rather than protect me from it. It's like, here's a little, that's what it is. It's like, here's a little bit of the flu, this should keep you from getting it bad. Here's a little bit of COVID. It should protect you. But I don't know. I don't know if I guess I will if they say it works. I'm fairly trusting of the scientific community, but people are going to be scared. I saw a story I think last night that said people are not getting vaccines. I mean,
I did too.
just regular ones. Kids aren't getting
Right.
them. Parents aren't taking them in. They don't want to risk exposing them, and so that's going to create other problems. And then if everyone's inside and away from everybody, are you just going to get a really bad case of the flu when you do get sick? Is it going to knock you out because you're not out and about, picking up germs along the way, and that
I
helps
have
your body
heard
fight off?
this. Yes, I have heard people talking about this. You mean getting some immunity?
Yeah, that's
Natural.
right.
Yes, I know. In the meantime, what we should all be doing is trying to make ourselves as healthy as possible. Just from eating well, exercising. They say try to walk every day,
Yeah.
which we really love to do, but it's been too hot. I mean, it is too hot.
It was just too cold to walk. I know, because I remember saying it. It's too cold. And then it was a little too rainy, and now it's too hot, which is nice.
But it is. It's too hot, Kevin. Maybe not
It
this
is.
weekend, though. This weekend's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm a big walker as well. I walk a lot of miles. I really enjoy it.
We do
and
too.
I have not been out since the heat wave hit.
We went out the
Hello,
other day
Emily.
in the rain. Yes, good. Aloha, Emily.
Aloha.
I think it's nighttime for Emily. I think it's like around midnight in Hawaii. She can correct me, but I think she's just getting ready to go to bed. But we went out the other day after the rain, and because I said, "Okay, come on, let's go. It's 80. We got to go." It was so hot. It was so humid. We were like, "Oh, this is painful." It was ridiculous.
Yeah, we had some new bushes and landscaping put in, and so we've been trying to keep it alive
Yes.
from dying. And a little bit, just a little stretch of new sod we replaced, and like right before the heat wave hit. So I feel like the water hits the grass or the hedges, and it just evaporates on the outside. It's like smoke comes off of it. I'm like, this seems like a really lost cause, and I can't wait for the water bill to come in and see what that. Very bad timing on I'm trying to put some new hedges in.
Well, we did that like a year ago, and it's been slow. It takes a long time for them to catch properly, and then you have to fight with the deer too. So between the heat and the deer, we're out there, all now that we're home more, we're out there all day long, like, oh God, here comes the deer. Or, it's hot, get the hose out. I mean, it's definitely a job. It's a job.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Sure.
So I believe we're coming back, and you're going to be talking ice cream.
Yes, that's perfect conversation for me. I love ice cream, and it's very hot out, so it's a good combination.
I'm going to put Marie in. She may want to be part of it. I'm going backstage.
Okay.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
Good morning and welcome back to the Paul W. Smith Show on this July the 10th, 2020. Marie Osborne is with us. How are you, Marie?
Hey, great.
So, Marie, we got somebody on the line we're going to talk to. Chris Shania is the owner of Sweet Spots in Farmington Hills. It's an ice cream shop, and I don't know if you've been there or not, but we wanted to see how business is going in the heat wave, and we wanted to talk a little bit about us having a small business and trying to open up in COVID and trying to keep it clean and keep the employees safe. It's a mom and pop shop. Chris and Monica Shania run it, and Chris, is Chris on the line?
I am, Kevin. Thank you.
Hey, Chris, it's myself and Marie Osborne this morning. Welcome to the Paul W. Smith Show. I got to imagine it's not a bad business to be in selling ice cream in a heat wave.
It's been a fantastic week, Kevin, and it's a pleasure to be with you and Marie. Yes, the ice cream man likes hot weather.
So, Chris, when did you open up again, and what was that like, and how hard of a decision was it, or were you ready to open up as soon as they allowed it?
We were able to open back on May 24th for curbside and carry out. And naturally, I was anxious to open. In addition to having the parlor, we also do kids' birthday parties. And as you can imagine, most parents at this point are still reluctant to gather in large groups. So the party business continues to be slow. What we're seeing are smaller groups. Later today, I'll do a gathering for 7 children, whereas typically we would do parties of 15 to 20 kids.
So Marie, what do you think? Like when you think about that, are you ready to go to the ice cream store? Are you ready to have a kids party? What do you think? I mean, because it's tough. It's a tough decision for everybody.
I think definitely for ice cream. There's always room for ice cream, even in a pandemic. Right?
Thank you. Thank you, Marie.
You're very welcome. The kids' parties, however, I can see where people would be very reluctant. I'm curious to know how your mask compliance is. How are people coming into your store or requesting service? Are people wearing masks? Are they giving you a hard time?
I would say about 80% of people come in wearing masks. Others will stand in the doorway and they'll order from there. I haven't had anyone object to having to wear a mask. They're usually compliant and understanding and being willing to order and have me bring it out to them.
Have people overall been nice?
Oh, yes. I would say people have been wonderful. It is ice cream. And so people have been great. We did not do curbside previously, but we're doing a lot of that now. Other adaptations, I know other business owners listening, they've had to adapt in different ways. For us, it's meant sending characters out to homes for smaller backyard gatherings. We send out superheroes, princesses, Elmo. And so I've had an increased demand for that. And then the other thing, again, we're seeing our smaller gatherings, 2, 3, 5 children coming in for play dates and the like. So we're trying to adapt. Business is probably at 75% of normal levels in terms of the ice cream.
Chris, I imagine you look great in that Elmo costume.
Thank you, Kevin. Yes, you can imagine.
So I've been to your shop. It's adorable. You have 6 or 10 little tables. Are people sitting at the tables, or do you have them spread out? Have you taken the tables out? Do people you have outdoor seating too, and then there's the parking lot. I'm curious how that's actually working, and I'm wondering, are you seeing a lot of your regulars come back? Are people just coming back to support the business because they want to keep an ice cream shop in the neighborhood? They don't want to see it go under, so they're coming back sort of just to be a part of the community.
Yes, and I'm grateful for that. A store like mine relies often on a small group of regulars. So I have been seeing them. We're now in our 5th summer. So we do have a nice group of locals that come in. And as far as sitting down, most people are not sitting and loitering necessarily. They're taking their ice cream outside. They're sitting in their cars and eating it. I would say most people are very cognizant of social distancing. I'll have folks stand at the door rather than come in if they see another family in there. So, it's been an adjustment. We've had to adapt, but all in all, we're pleased to be back open. We're at the corner of 14 Mile and Middle Belt in the Broadway Plaza, Sweet Spots, and we're typically open noon to 8 p.m. And should anyone mention this broadcast, Kevin, we'd like to offer 2 for 1. Should anyone mention Marie Osborne?
There you go.
Nice. That is the secret. Marie Osborne is the key word for 2-for-1. I like that. I like the plug. I like all of that. I like what I'm hearing. Have you had trouble getting workers to come back, Chris, or is it all family workers?
I have a small group of teenagers that work with me, both in the parlor and as party hosts and hostesses. And some of them are not ready to come back, but the majority are. So I haven't had any problem finding young people willing to work.
Well, thank you for keeping our kids employed. There's a lot of small businesses like yours out there that keep, right, Kevin, that give our kids their first jobs, and we're so grateful.
Absolutely. All right, Chris Chanier, Sweet Spots, Farmington Hills. Thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Kevin and Maria, it was a pleasure. Have a great day, and we'll see you later today for ice cream.
Yes.
2-for-1, because I'm using the code word Marie Osborne. I'm getting 2-for-1. All right, let's check weather and traffic with Rich Lazinski.
This report is sponsored by Ascension Care Teams at GetAscensionMichiganCare.com. Ascension caregivers are here with you, and they're not going anywhere at this time. You can still get the care you need when you need it. They're making sure their hospitals and sites of care are safe and ready for you when you need them, in person and virtual visits. Get the care you need at GetAscensionMichiganCare.com.
We have an accident on I-75 southbound after Dixie Highway, blocking your right lane. Newburgh Road is closed between Schoolcraft and I-96 due to a broken water main, and an earlier accident is closed 7 mile between the Southfield Freeway and Greenfield Road. Now WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Marathon. No matter where your travels take you, Marathon can improve your engine performance with quality top-tier gasoline. Marathon, feeling the American spirit. Here's your forecast.
Pretty busy day today with rounds of showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. We'll get some later this morning and some scattered around this afternoon. Strong gusty winds and heavy rainfall. The threat for some hail and maybe a spin-up isolated tornado. 86 degrees. Scattered thunderstorms this evening. Still a threat overnight, 68. Showers tomorrow morning. Then we settle down a bit in the afternoon. Partial clouds at high 84. Sunshine clouds on Sunday, 83. From the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Staging on News Talk 760 WJR.
Automotive Views with Jason Stein, publisher of Automotive News, is presented by Yazaki, fully connected to vehicle electrification.
Can we have a moment of silence for the good old-fashioned sedan? Word this week is that General Motors is ending production of the Chevrolet Sonic, paring the brand's passenger car lineup to only the Malibu and Spark, in addition to the Corvette and Camaro sports cars. The news is another nail in the coffin for sedans. They used to be the bread and butter of the entry-level lineup for buyers who wanted a first car or families looking for affordable transportation. At its peak in 2014, Chevy sold 93,000 Sonics. Last year, it sold 14,000. The Malibu and Spark could also die over the next 3 to 4 years, leaving no passenger cars in GM's lineup. Yes, SUVs and crossovers, as well as pickup trucks, are all the rage. But there's no doubt the landscape is shifting on affordability, mostly thanks to the demise of the sedan. And where that leaves entry-level buyers in a market consumed by rising used car prices is anyone's guess. With this week's Automotive View, I'm Jason Stein, publisher of Automotive News.
As the auto industry's reliance on internal combustion engines shifts to electrification will be the foundation for any type of advanced mobility. And with more than 75 years of wire harness electrical and data solutions experience, Yazaki is your development partner for electric vehicles. Yazaki's customers have access to a comprehensive high-voltage products and systems portfolio, and the company's deep understanding of global automotive standards makes it the best choice to help drive and optimize your future vehicle's electrification systems and power distribution architecture. As a full-service supplier, Yazaki offers extensive additive manufacturing and rapid prototype capabilities. Its wide range of high-voltage research and testing resources helps customers integrate vehicle electrification, connectivity, and autonomy, fully connected to vehicle electrification. Learn more at yazaki-na.com.
Technology is transforming every aspect of business. That's why Walsh and Kettering University have come together to create the Walsh Kettering Tech MBA. It combines an internationally ranked Walsh MBA with an engineering certificate from the renowned Kettering University. It provides graduates the senior leadership knowledge and skills needed to create advanced engineering solutions across a wide range of complex business and technology challenges. To find out more about the Walsh Kettering Tech MBA, go to walshcollege.edu.
Head north with Wallstrom Marine, Northern Michigan's largest boat dealer and full-service marina. Wallstrom Marine has continued to grow for over 74 years to better serve all your boating needs. Visit their new and improved Traverse City location on US 31 South, offering luxury lines of Sea Ray, Pursuit, Chris Craft, and Tiara. Getting you into the boat of your dreams has never been easier. Their expert staff can also offer you a free market evaluation on your current vessel. Visit them at one of their 5 Northern Michigan locations or wallstrom.com. Wallstrom Marine, boating made easy.
In this ever-changing and fast-paced world, I'm thankful for a place that always remains the same. Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island. America's summer place has historic charm, rich traditions, and the welcoming spirit we all need right now. Through many uncertainties, the authenticity of America's true Grand Hotel continues to prevail for its 134th consecutive year. The enduring beauty of sunrises and sunsets we watch from the world's longest porch. The familiar
That's where it's at.
the untouched natural beauty and historic sites of
Cox is going to get
Mackinac
on the
Island.
2-for-1
Always
Marie ice
receive a
cream.
warm welcome, caring service you can trust, and your home away from home. This summer, visit the place that preserves traditions for today and tomorrow. To make reservations, visit grandhotel.com or call 1-800-33-GRAND, 1-800-33-GRAND. Grand Hotel, America's summer place.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
A 19-year-old man drowned after swimming out to a sandbar 180 feet from shore in Lake Michigan near the Sleeping Bear Dunes. The 4th of July weekend saw a spike of drownings and near drownings in the Great Lakes. Joining us now to talk about the dangers in the spike is Dr. Ron Ruffing, emergency medicine specialist from DMC Children's Hospital in Michigan. Doc, thanks for joining us on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Hi, good morning. Glad to be on.
Yeah, so this is interesting on a lot of different levels. I think with the COVID situation and people wanting to get out of the house, heading to the Great Lakes has been a good option. A lot of pools aren't even open, public pools, and so if people are going to the beaches and the lakes, probably more people and potentially more trouble with drownings.
Yeah, it's summertime. It's really hot. The waters are so refreshing. They really are a huge attraction, for us, particularly people who enjoy Michigan and our lakes. But there are hazards here, and this is what we always have to remember that the water really is an environment that isn't always safe for humans, and we have to use a lot of caution and good sense when we're in that environment.
So I remember when my kids were little and we were at the ocean and we were always saying, wear a life jacket because the undertow might pull you back in. The Great Lakes are different, but there's also mistakes swimmers make, right?
Yeah, probably the biggest mistake swimmers make is particularly if you view yourself as a good swimmer, you don't even see this as a hazard. So you think, I can swim 100 yards easily. But there are lots of places along the Great Lakes where we have significant undertows, which people regularly get into trouble on. So, this is not that uncommon, and they're high risk zones. And typically the state has put out signs that this is a high risk area that people need to pay attention to. You get into one of these undertow situations, heavy current that you're stuck swimming against, and people can rapidly become exhausted. There's a big difference between swimming in a pool and swimming in an open body of water, even if the distance looks very short. So, you always have to be cautious. So, that leads us to these really common rules that we have about water and water safety, particularly in, my young adults, adolescents, lots of cautions about alcohol use and going into water, because that just is going to lead people to overassess their ability, easy fatigue. So just common sense and really being very careful about water and alcohol. Alcohol consumption is just going to make that risk greater. The other thing is don't be doing these things alone. If you're going to go out and swim, have somebody be aware that this is what your plan is. So somebody is watching you. So if there is a problem, somebody can call for help.
Yeah, and another thing that you hear from time to time is somebody jumps off of a boat, and all of a sudden the friend thinks they're in trouble, so they dive in the water to help them, and then now there's two people in trouble, or the person who went in to try and rescue finds themselves in trouble. What do you do when you see a friend or someone you're with in trouble in the water?
Yes, when somebody is in trouble in the water, basic life-saving skills really suggest that rather than going up to the person yourself, you simply bring something with you that you can extend to the person to grab onto and pull them to safety. So things like a towel or a pole, reach out to them rather than having them be able to grab a hold of you, because you get into that situation where someone can then pull you under and both of you go down. So you want to be very cautious about that particular situation. Yeah, that's a common problem and obviously a double-edged tragedy. But to reach out to somebody rather than going in the water, if you're in a boat, extend a pole to them, or swim out with a towel and have them hold on to a towel and then pull them to safety, or a line that you can toss to somebody and pull them to safety. Avoid getting into a situation in which someone can grab onto you, impair your ability to keep up, and then both people would go down.
Yeah, I was in pretty shallow water one time, and a friend of mine started struggling in the water, and I went to help him out, and he became very physically strong, and he kept wanting to dive down into the water instead of coming up to the air. And it was pretty shallow, but people in a panic, they get very disoriented. At least my friend did. Is that common that it's difficult to just help someone? It's not like in the movies where you grab them and you pull them up to the air.
No, exactly as you described. Once somebody moves into that panic sort of stage, they can't hear what you have to say. They are focusing their attention on trying to breathe and doing whatever they can to do that, and they are not going to be able to easily follow directions. So again, this leads to caution around the water, awareness of what's going on with people, early recognition of somebody who might be in trouble, calling out and making sure that they're okay. One of the things that has come out, recently is that in the person who is in sort of that very close stage, is they may not even be able to call out and ask for help because they're so focused on trying to breathe. So just awareness of the concerns, of the risks, having other people with you, avoiding these situations alone where people are making, bad decisions. The alcohol, all of these things can help to increase safety in and around the water. You mentioned diving. Of course, I have to mention that. If you are unsure of the water that you are in, heading in head first is dangerous. It is always one of the leading causes of drownings and cervical spine, catastrophic cervical spine injuries is what we broadly call diving injuries, where someone dives into water and then hits the bottom rock or the bottom of the pool or the bottom of the lake with their head because they've dove into water that is shallow. So I got to mention that also is a very high risk.
Yeah, and if you're meeting friends to swim and you're not a strong swimmer, don't be shy or embarrassed about your swimming abilities. You want to tell people that you're not a strong swimmer, because people can get into trouble in very shallow water. It can be very dangerous. Dr. Don Ruffing, thank you for your tips and advice. DMC Children's Hospital of Michigan, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show today.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. We appreciate it. Have a safe weekend. Let's check in with traffic and weather with Rich Luzinski.
This report is sponsored by HCR Manor Care. Want to help your community? The HCR Manor Care team in the Detroit area needs you. Now hiring RNs, LPNs, and CNAs. You'll have growth opportunities, real training, and tuition assistance, all while helping your community. Apply online at jobs.hcr-manorcare.com.
We have an accident on I-75 southbound after Dixie Highway that's blocking your right lane. Newburgh Road is closed between Schoolcraft and I-96 due to a broken water main, and an earlier accident has closed 7 Mile between the Southfield Freeway and Greenfield Road. Now WJR weather first from the Weather Channel. Isolated thunderstorms at 78 degrees. I'm Rich Luzensky, WJR News, in 3 minutes.
Helping those who need it most while building a better future. That's what Michiganders do. And it's what DTE is doing today. Giving 2 million masks to frontline workers and 600,000 to small businesses. Providing tablets and internet access so 51,000 school children can learn at home. And helping over 500,000 families across the state with food and shelter. Because for Michigan, we're always all in. DTE. DTE is taking big steps today that will power Michigan's economy for years to come. As one of the largest investors in the state, we'll spend $2 billion with Michigan companies this year alone, building critical infrastructure to provide cleaner, safer, and more reliable energy, while creating thousands of new jobs across the state, improving the lives of Michiganders today, while continuing to build a stronger tomorrow. DTE.
Picture this. A shortage of fuel has closed your electric utility, or any other possible disaster devastated your town. You're out of power, no lights, no news. That's why federal and state agencies urge you to have an emergency radio. Now you can get a free Dynamo World Band emergency radio. This powerful radio lets you stay informed during any type of emergency. It doesn't even need batteries. It comes with a hand-crank generator and super bright LED flashlight. The Dynamo Emergency Radio includes the NOAA Weather Band, a long-range AM receiver, a high-sensitivity FM band, and even a USB jack to charge cell phones or other devices. The Dynamo Emergency Weather Band radio retails for almost $30, but Newsmax wants to make sure you get this radio. So check out the free offer for the emergency radio by going to gettheradio.com. That's gettheradio.com. Or call toll-free 877-NEWSMAX. That's 877-NEWSMAX. This radio could save your life.
I just sent you an interesting story, Kev. There's a new Red Panda at the Detroit Zoo. Did you see that?
I saw you sent me an email.
I sent you a bunch of stuff, but
Yeah, I saw what I saw the other thing too. The
from Norm.
Yeah.
But the other thing that's really interesting is this Red Panda at the zoo. They're going to have to keep the panda like really safe and in a special area so that wildlife doesn't get at it. Isn't that interesting? I had never heard of that before.
Well, we should talk about it at 7 o'clock, at 7:05, because we don't have a guest.
Yeah, we can do that because I think they're worried about fox because we've seen a lot of fox around here. And I'm wondering, because of COVID, I have seen an incredible amount of wildlife lately. Beautiful birds, of course the deer. But I'm wondering, I've never heard of that before, that they would have trouble at the zoo.
So what are the fox are not part of the zoo? They're just roaming the zoo, like they roam our backyards.
Exactly.
Wow.
Oh, so I thought
I have a friend who runs out and screams to get the little dogs because the animals that are out in the backyard, or even a big bird will fly over, like a hawk or something. Things go scoop it up, or an eagle will fly by.
Right. Yeah. And I'll pop Marie back in at 7:05 too. She's always
great.
got interesting perspective about all kinds of things going on.
Cool.
But I'd love to go to the zoo. I haven't done it enough. I think it's fun. It's good exercise.
Oh yeah, it's too hot, Ann.
Too hot. And I'm
Or
the
too
queen
cold.
of loving the heat. So I have a
love the
lot
heat,
of
too.
nerve complaining about this.
I can't complain in the summertime. I'm not going to do it. I complain too much in the winter.
Right. No, I'm a big, I would much rather have this weather than that freezing cold, icy, that doesn't sound fun at all. So we can't. I'm
No.
not saying a word. I'm going to be very careful.
Yeah, I'm happy to sweat it out.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's you can get out more. It's more vitamin D. You know, vitamin D is supposed to help with the virus.
Yeah.
So if you can get a little bit more vitamin D, it's all good.
Very good. Very good.
So your connection is good.
You can tell
But it's
just by what you're hearing and seeing.
you hear great. You sound great. But it sometimes it goes just a little bit foggy. Now it's back. And then it's kind of interesting today.
Yeah, it's weird. Now, so when it is a bad day, like sometimes I'll go to, although not this earlier, we'll be waking people up, but actually people should be getting up pretty soon. But there's like another room in the house that seems to have the strongest of the connections.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like so it's closer to the router or whatever. So we were talking about that, about having Comcast, whoever we have, come back out and actually put another router in each of the rooms where we both work, because my wife works from home and she needs her Wi-Fi as well. And so the proximity to the router makes a difference too in your house.
How do you guys do working at home? I mean, do you both work in separate rooms and meet for lunch?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That's
like
what we
separate
do.
sides of the house. Yeah, it's pretty good. She's very busy, and I'm fine. And all of a sudden, I'll look out the window, and I'll what is that? And she'll be outside, getting some fresh air or something, and then I'll pop over and interrupt one of her calls. And but for the most part, yeah, it's kind of like noon and 6 o'clock, and we pop into the middle of the house and see what's going on.
Same. Yeah, we got a lot of the same thing going on. So
Well, if the kids need something, you would do a lot of this. No, go see the other parent.
or you go like this.
Yeah, right, exactly. And
Well,
of
it's
course
funny.
the dog.
Go ahead.
The dog's very confused because I always take care of the dog, but when I do Paul's show, I don't. I ditch the dog to one of the kids' rooms, and they take care of the dog. But I'm not sure the dog is cool with that. Yeah.
So I've been able to, my husband's been practicing law for 30 plus years.
Right.
And, but I had never seen him in action. So
Okay.
I really appreciated watching him in action. It's been so interesting and entertaining. I mean, he sometimes, the judges ask that they dress for the Zoom calls.
Right.
So you have to get all dressed up. And
yes.
So he's sitting at the kitchen counter dressed in a suit.
I know. My mom is not happy with me that I'm not wearing a coat for these Facebook shows. I said, when I come to the station, when I go out, I typically wear a sport coat and a shirt, probably not a tie. But she's like, well, yeah. She goes, you dress up all the time. Why are you not? I said, it just feels odd in the house being dressed up. She goes, but everyone else isn't in the house. They expect you to be in a coat. Put on a coat.
Since you mentioned that, it's true. You always come to the radio station in your nice blue sport coat.
I do. My dad taught me very young that if you wear a sport coat, you might get invited to a nice lunch or something. Someone might say, well, you seem nicely dressed. Why don't you come to lunch with us? I don't know
my
if that's ever
husband
happened.
thinks the same thing. He
Yeah,
in fact, he's in mourning because yesterday, I think it was Marie in one of her newscasts said that Brooks Brothers
Experience higher computer screen times? Gamer Advantage has the only clinically proven lenses.
He's really concerned about that.
Go to gameradvantage.com.
Marie, can you hear us?
I can, and I had to laugh when you talked about John
From the great voice of
in
the
action, and he's like, "Whoa, okay."
Kevin Dietz filling in
He
for
thought I
Paul.
was bad at home, man. He was like, "Whoa."
Good morning and welcome back to the Paul W. Smith Show on this July 10th, 2020. Did you guys see the rain last night? It came in and cooled off some of the flowers and shrubbery and the grass, which is getting very brown in my neighborhood. And so it was good to see a little bit of rain. Joining us this hour is Dan Thomas and Marie Osborne. How are you guys doing this morning?
We are great.
Happy for the rain.
Yes,
Happy Friday.
yes. Happy Friday, right? That's right. It's time for the weekend. Almost. A couple more hours, right?
Yeah.
So we got this email from Mike Wheeler, the program director, talking about activities, things people want to do when the COVID-19 restrictions are lifted. And I wonder if these work with you. One of these is at the top and one of these is at the bottom of the list. Let's see if you guys can figure it out. Go to a movie or shop at a local merchant. Which one's top and which one's bottom, Marie?
I say shop at a local merchant is top and bottom is the movie.
Anne?
I agree with Marie. That's what
I don't. Right? I don't know if I'm ever going to a movie theater again. I don't know if they're offering an option to pay $20 to watch it at home or go to the theater. By the time you get the popcorn and the tickets and take your spouse or your kids or whatever, you're well over that $20. I don't know. It just seems a crowded room like a theater is a tough sell. I don't know what they're going to do.
That document that Mike sent is fascinating because it gives percentages for all the different activities, anything that you can think of. And it is kind of mirroring what we think. It's kind of common sense. Kev, go through some of the numbers.
Yeah, so at the top, 52% shop at a local merchant. Next up, visit relatives, 48%. And that's
absolutely
the very first thing we did was go to the store because we needed to. And then the next thing we did was we visited with family, right?
Same.
Now this one is higher than I would have thought, for me anyway, but get your hair styled or cut. People, 45% want to do that. It was kind of funny watching everybody go without getting their hair done or cut for a long period of time. But I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, this is so important to me that I need to do that. I'm glad they're open again, and I don't want to see them closed. But that was right up at the top. Get your hairstyle or cut. So how do you women feel about that? Is that high priority?
I got my hair cut the first week. What about you, Ann?
Yes, I feel strongly about that one, Kev.
Okay, well, how do you feel about this? Go back to your place of work, because that's next on the list, 43%. And you'd think people love the idea of working from home, but 43% say that's one of the top things they want to do is get back to the office.
I love working from home.
I love working from home too.
Wonderfully.
I've seen
and I are going to hold out.
I've seen on Facebook some people who I've been seeing on Facebook some people saying I really miss the energy of the office, or people who have gone back for the first time and they say, oh my gosh, I can't believe how weird it feels to be here. I can't believe I left the sweater on my chair when I just left. I got out of there so quickly. But I think people are adjusting nicely to working at home, and I think that's going to show up in real estate, commercial real estate at some point here. There's an awful lot of office space out there that people are spending a lot of money on. And if the workarounds are working, I think there's going to be a lot of people who permanently have the option to work from home.
A lot of realtors are saying that clients are saying to them, we need a home office. So when they're looking at a house, they have to have some space where they know they can put a home office in. That's now become a big, like a family room used to be a thing.
Right.
Well, now this is a thing.
Wow. How do you feel about this one? Inviting friends or family to your home, because that's next on the list at 42%. How do you feel about having people over?
That's very important to me because our house has always been kind of the central location for family and friends. So that's very important to me. Very important. And what about you on that one?
Well, and let's point out too that Marie is a fabulous cook.
Oh,
so
no.
She is really good. I'm a little bit mixed. I'm just I get a little bit worried about that. I don't want anybody to get sick, and I don't want myself to get anybody sick. So I'm mixed. I mean, I agree though, it's very important, but I'm a little shaky on it.
Yeah. So what we've done here, what we've noticed in our neighborhood is a lot of people are sort of picking a family to have over. Like this is our family. We're in it with these guys. So this family comes over, our own personal family, but then like one friend family friends. They'll come over and their kids come over. They're like, these are your new friends until COVID's over.
Like a bubble.
And that's it.
Bubble.
No, I've heard
That's all you
that
get.
same thing. I've heard the very same thing, Kevin. These are my people now. This is my group, and we're not going outside this group. That's very, very true.
Yeah, and I think that's helped some of the young kids in the neighborhood because they're not just with their parents. They have one other friend group, and they've sort of figured, all right, well, these two families were in it together. So that's been pretty interesting. We want to jump to Jeff Sloan, founder and CEO of Startup Nation, to spotlight the entrepreneurial tech and startup community here on WJR.
Jennifer Janis is.
Good morning. Here's a good one to take us into the weekend. When the stay-at-home orders were first issued and we were all sequestered into our homes, dazed and confused by the pandemic bearing down on all of us, not knowing where all of it was going, how serious it was going to be, et cetera, we were all looking for ways to find comfort and find answers to help us get through all of this. And many of us returned to things familiar and simple, like baking bread at home. You remember what a huge trend that was early on, Paul. And we also know that liquor and tobacco sales increased during this period of the pandemic as well. These are signs that people are looking for simple pleasures and simple comfort to help them get through this period. And here's another sign of changing consumer buying patterns: candy. That's right. Candy is a hot category right now as consumers once again seek comfort in those simple pleasures. Just released research from Coupon Insights team, that's Coupon with a K. They're in the business of collecting and reporting consumer buying behaviors that help brands drive more sales. They indicate the following statistics highlighting candy's popularity in a recent study. Trips to the stores have decreased around 12%, yet candy sales are growing at a clip of 6%. Checkout baskets with candy included are experiencing a 14% increase in sales. And it's the chocolate brands that are the big winners as they lead the category in overall growth. The brands winning big in the chocolate category? How about Reese's, M&M's, Snickers, and Hershey's leading the way? In the non-chocolate categories, we've got Starburst, Skittles, Sweet Tarts, and Lifesavers leading the growth in that category. So what does all this tell us, Paul? A sweet story on the face of it, but a deeper look tells us a lot more. Again, we know that bread, alcohol, tobacco, sales all increasing over this period of time. Candy now is too. Look, if you're an entrepreneur looking for opportunity, look to finding ways to deliver simple comforts to those of us spending more time at home than ever before. So, Paul, you grab your Reese's, I'll grab my Snickers. Let's make it a great weekend. I'm Jeff Sloan, founder and CEO of StartupNation.com, and that's today's Business Beat on the great voice of the Great Lakes, WJR.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Looking for an easier way to find your next job? It's time to get to know Express Employment Professionals. Visit ExpressPros.com to find one of over 830 locations to help support your workforce needs.
WJR Traffic First is sponsored by Wallstrom Marine. Head north
Clay,
with
that
Wallstrom
one's
Marine,
pre-taped
Northern
for
Michigan's
sure.
largest
And
boat dealer
every
and
block
full-service
is your
marina.
COVID family.
Visit their new and improved Traverse City location to check out their luxury lines and newly added brands, or get a free market evaluation on your current boat. Visit one of their 5 showroom locations or Wallstrom.com. That accident on I-75 southbound after Dixie Highway is clear.
Jerry,
They do
that's
have a
good
new
advice.
accident on US
Check
23
out,
northbound.
I think
That's
we
before
are
Thompson
gonna
Road.
be,
That's causing
but I'll
slow
have to
traffic
check
from
that
North
out.
Road. And Newburgh Road southbound
do this
remains
on a regular
closed
basis,
between
definitely wanna get a
Schoolcraft
good
and
routing.
I-94. That's due to a broken water main. Now WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Pain Free Life Centers of Troy. Pain Free Life Centers is the only center in Michigan using FDA-approved high-intensity, high-dose lasers for pain management. No drugs, no injections, no side effects. Go where Red Wings legend Darren McCarty goes to treat his pain. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Call 248-879-1100 today. Here's your forecast.
Good to know.
A couple of lines of showers and thunderstorms coming through. One as we head through this morning, and maybe a few more.
We'll
as we
all
go
have to
through
make
this
some
afternoon
calls
and
on
this
the
evening. It
router
doesn't rain every hour of the day, but those storms, when they come through, could have some gusty winds and hail, heavy rainfall, even a slight risk of a tornado. Today's high 86. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are still possible tonight. Low 68. Gusty northwest wind. Tomorrow's a front does go through.
And I never got to the Red Panda story.
We never got to the Red Panda story. All right, so coming up here, we have our Michigan Public's, Sally. Then at 7:35, I still haven't heard back about switching Representative Roach. So I may pop Marie back in there at 7:35, and you guys could talk about the Panda then.
Okay.
Sally is good to go and on the line. but we're going to have
Okay.
to in a standby mode with Representative Yaroche.
Okay.
Since I tried earlier, but I haven't heard back. So
Okay.
stay tuned.
All right. That sounds good.
Okay.
PM, the all-new Ford Bronco built wild. Visit WJR.com and get a front seat.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Picture this. A shortage of fuel has closed your electric utility, or any other possible disaster devastated your town. You're out of power, no lights, no news. That's why federal and state agencies urge you to have an emergency radio. Now you can get a free Dynamo World Band emergency radio. This powerful radio lets you stay informed during any type of emergency. It doesn't even need batteries. It comes with a hand-crank generator and super bright LED flashlight. The Dynamo emergency radio includes the NOAA weather band, a long-range AM receiver, a high-sensitivity FM band, and even a USB jack to charge cell phones or other devices. The Dynamo emergency weather band radio retails for almost $30, but Newsmax wants to make sure you get this radio. So check out the free offer for the emergency radio by going to gettheradio.com. That's gettheradio.com. Or call toll-free 877-NEWSMAX. That's 877-NEWSMAX. This radio could save your life. This offer may end soon, so order today.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
And welcome back to the Paul W. Smith Show on July 10th, 2020. It is a hot one outside. If you want to join in, you can text us or call us at 1-800-859-0957, 1-800-859-0WJR. I was talking a little bit ago about worrying about water bills, trying to water the grass and the flowers outside. Well, we also have to worry about our energy bills as we all try and stay cool. With Michigan in the grips of an extended heat wave, temperatures at or above 90 degrees day after day, the Michigan Public Service Commission is offering us some tips to help stay cool and reduce energy bills. And joining us now is Sally Talbert, the chairman of the Michigan Public Service Commission. Sally, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Thank you, Kevin. It's a pleasure to be here.
So yeah, it's baby, it's hot outside. What do we do to try and stay cool in this kind of extended heat wave?
Kevin, as you mentioned, families are using more energy at home. Many are working at home. And with this heat, in particular with air conditioning, it can really drive up utility bills. So the Public Service Commission put out a press release earlier this week with some low cost or no cost tips on how you can cut energy waste and save on your utility bills. Things like installing a programmable thermostat. We have smart thermostats that are available through the utilities at no cost or at a discounted price, easy to install, and can really help keep the bills down. There's other tips: tuning up your air conditioner, making sure the filters are clean, and encourage people to go to our website for more information on how to beat the heat.
Yeah, so I always wonder about this, like, in the middle of the day, do you want to crank up your air conditioning, or do you want to turn it up early before it gets hot so the house is cold and try and keep it cold?
Yeah, that's ideal. And we recommend keeping it around 78 degrees. But if you leave the home for some period of time, you can turn it up even 5 to 10 degrees if you're going to be out of the house for 5 hours. Let's say you go to the lake or something. And but it is really important to make sure the filters are clean and that it's operating properly as well. And if there are larger projects and utilities have discounts on this as well, whether it's insulation or sealing up cracks, in your home makes a big difference as well. And there's discounts on appliances such as refrigerators, dishwashers, and washers and dryers.
They say to close your shades, and when it's really hot. How much does that help? Does the sun beating in through a window make it that much harder to keep the house cold?
Definitely, and even using your fans can make a difference just in terms of the comfort level in your home and keeping your AC from having to run as hard.
So if you have your AC on, also using your ceiling fans will move that air around, or it'll just keep it cooler so that the AC doesn't have to work as hard.
Yeah, both. It'll kind of circulate the air. You feel more comfortable, and we encourage. Our website is michigan.gov/MPSC, and right on the main page there's a Beat the Heat press release with these and other tips. That's
interesting. We have ceiling fans in almost every room in our house, but we typically only use them instead of the air conditioning, to try to not use it at all. But I never really thought about using it with the air conditioning so that you use less AC.
Yeah, and there's also financial assistance. We know some families are really struggling right now with utility bills and other costs, and encourage customers to contact their utility first, see if there's payment arrangements or maybe financial assistance based on your income. If someone's lost a job in the household, you can also call 211 or go directly to the state's My Bridges website to apply for assistance.
And what about having somebody come out and kind of do a system checkup? You talked about air filters, but sometimes the airflow isn't always optimized. Is that a good idea to have somebody come out?
It's a great idea, and there are contractors that are authorized to help assess your home and give you a more customized set of recommendations that can be cost effective and help you save on your utility bill. It also helps with your individual utility bill, but the more we can shave the peak when consumption is high like this week, with so many people using air conditioning, it actually helps with reliability, and it helps keep the utilities costs down because they don't have to run those really expensive generators, power plants during this time.
And so do you find, or do you know if there's a surge on the system when it's really hot like this? I mean, is there a danger that the whole system can go down if too many people are just cranking up the AC in the middle of the day?
So we have like a reserve for excess available supply for days like this, and for different, whether it's hotter weather or certain power plants going down. But yeah, it can those supplies can get strained, and so the more we can do to use less at these peak times, it helps with reliability and with cost.
And how much of a bump will people see, as a result when you have these heat waves? Is it pretty substantial? And and how can people get help with their bills if they need it?
It can be. I mean, we're seeing overall residential consumption just with the pandemic up about 18%. And then, when you have this heat, it can also raise your utility bill. So we're recommending that customers contact their utility, try to work out payment arrangements. They can also give them tips on saving energy. And then, for those that are really struggling to meet ends meet, there may be financial assistance available as well. And the utilities can help customers navigate.
Yeah, with so many people at home now, working at home, not going out because not as many things are open, you can really see how those bills can skyrocket if you're not careful. So, Sally Talbert, thanks so much for the tips. I learned a couple that I'm going to put into place right away, and hopefully our listeners did as well. Chairman of the Michigan Public Service Commission, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it.
All right, you bet. Stay cool this weekend. Let's check weather and traffic with Rich Lazinski.
This report is sponsored by Church's. If every day feels like the last, beat Church's new $5 Campfire Smokehouse Chicken. Crackling campfire flavor that's bold to the bone, plus mashed potatoes and a biscuit. Church's, bringing that down-home flavor. Offer valid at participating locations.
We have an accident on US 23 northbound before Thompson Road that's causing slow traffic from North Road. Please avoid Newburgh Road southbound between Schoolcraft and I-96 due to a broken water main, and an earlier accident has closed 7 Mile between the Southfield Freeway and Greenfield Road. Now WJR weather first from the Weather Channel. Isolated thunderstorms at 78 degrees. I'm Rich Lusensky. WJR News in 3 minutes.
If you have Michigan auto insurance, heads up, you've got big changes ahead. As of July 1st, all Michigan auto insurance plans will no longer automatically include lifetime coverage of
So, Kev, nothing yet from Representative Yaroch about the switch. So I'll put Marie in here with you, and you guys can talk about the Panda.
Right.
I did want to point out, we may, if Representative Yaroch calls at 48, what we could do is we could tape him at 8 o'clock and then right at 8 during the news, and then we could use it on Monday.
Okay.
And then that way he's not inconvenienced or whatever.
Right.
So, but Brian says he doesn't think we can tape him.
Oh.
What about it? How about 9? Let's ask about 9. It's just like a 5-minute interview. So let's see what happens here.
So he was supposed to call it 45.
He's supposed to be, yeah, I'm
earlier.
trying to do the 10 minutes earlier, but
He's not answering now.
No. No luck. Okay, well, we'll make it work. Brian said he could tape right at 9 too. So
if Jeff's,
that might be smarter anyhow.
Okay.
All right.
I think I would be near my phone if I was within 10 minutes.
I know. Okay.
Not blaming him. We're the ones making the changes.
Yeah, that's true. We do a lot
The
of
world
that.
needs to know about this
The
panda
panda.
anyway. I mean,
I like the panda story. People, it's my animal thing.
I know. It's probably not my strong point, but Marie, I'm sure, will be excellent at it.
Why, you have a dog. You know about animals.
I do. And I can talk for 8 minutes for almost
About anything.
any reason.
Were in your family, were you the talker of the group?
I guess at school I was. I had some issues from time to time with socializing at school.
Oh, really?
But in the family, not so much. There's so many kids. There's 7 kids. I used to go to the neighbor's house to talk. They didn't have kids, so I would go over there and I got all the attention I needed.
Oh, that's hilarious. So
You
did you
have
get
to
in
adapt.
trouble for talking in school?
Yeah, I did, and then and that was like in grade school, and then in high school, I did the announcements at high school, so I got it out of my system by coming in early and doing the morning announcements.
I got in trouble in kindergarten for talking one time. And
That's all you needed was one time.
It scared me so much that I never did it again.
Never spoke again. That's
very
good.
good.
Scared straight in kindergarten is good.
Yeah.
That's funny.
One thing will do it for you.
If he reaches out and calls in the middle of this segment too, you can pop him in if you want to do that too.
Okay, I'll try to keep watching.
I don't know how long that. I guess it's a 7-minute spot, but
Sometimes, depending on the amount of spots, it can be a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
We'll see where we are here. Let's see and Brian will tell us. Okay. So Brian, yeah, we'll just have to wing it and play it by ear.
We'll be fine.
Yeah, let's see here. I'm going to head backstage.
Museum of African American History, the Michigan Science Center, the Scarab Club, all of them among many institutions who will be welcoming back visitors for the first time since the pandemic lockdown began 3 months ago. Governor Whitmer says President Trump declared a major disaster area for mid-Michigan counties affected by widespread and severe flooding and dam failures in May. Another Black Lives Matter mural was installed on a major avenue in the nation's largest city. It's hard to miss.
After a delay for a few days, Mayor Bill de Blasio followed through on his promise.
When I announced that we would be doing this here, President Trump said that we would be denigrating the luxury of Fifth Avenue. Let me tell you, we are not denigrating anything. We are liberating Fifth Avenue.
The windows of Trump Tower now look down onto the giant Black Lives Matter slogan on the avenue below. It's the Trump Organization's flagship building, housing both the company's offices and the president's condo, although New York City is no longer his official primary residence. Steve Kastenbaum, New York.
Looking at the world markets this morning, they are mixed. China, Nikkei down. London is up. The futures here on the Dow are down. For WJR News, I'm Marie Osborne. More with Kevin Dietz in for Paul W. Smith in a moment.
These days, we're all looking for someone with experience to guide us through this challenging situation. That's especially true for all the businesses and companies reopening. Every one of them should start with a professional disinfection service. If you ask me, Rose Pest Solutions would be the first call to make. Rose has been protecting businesses and families from disease and pests for 160 years. They've worked through pandemics, epidemics, and about every other demic you can think of. The new Rose Disinfection Service eliminates SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19. Their broad-spectrum treatment hits everything: doors, knobs, sinks, virtually every high-touch, non-porous surface. It's the preferred way to protect your customers and employees. In uncertain times like these, it's best to call on the professionals with the deepest experience. For disinfection, Rose is the solution. Call Rose at 800-966-ROSE or go to rosepestsolutions.com to schedule a disinfecting appointment.
Mann's Lumber in Millwork has Michigan's largest variety of Trex decking in stock and ready for delivery. We're now open and ready to deliver Trex to your home. Schedule an appointment with a Trex Pro installer and build the deck you've always wanted. Click on manslumber.com.
Michigan Economic Development Corporation is committed to helping businesses in our state during the COVID-19 pandemic and beyond. If you own a business, MEDC has dedicated programs and resources available to you now. These include small business support, access to capital, entrepreneur resources, and buyer and supplier matchmaking. Find support today at michiganbusiness.org/pure-partnership. That's michiganbusiness.org/pure-partnership.
Get an unbeatable summer discount savings on your landscape irrigation and lighting with Tri-County Services, serving all of Oakland, Macomb, and northern Wayne counties with a 5-year warranty on everything. Restrictions apply. See website for details. But you have to act fast. Visit tricountysvs.com now.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
Welcome back to the Paul W. Smith Show. It's July 10th, 2020. It is a beautiful morning. It's going to be a hot one. If you're listening to us on 760 a.m., thanks for stopping by. You can also watch us on Facebook Live if you go to the WJR page, or you can call in or text us at 1-800-859-0957, 1-800-859-0WJR. Lots of ways to stay in tune with the show here. Joining us here is Marie Osborne again. Marie, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning.
I was listening to your news update there, and I just the great news about mid-Michigan getting disaster fund. I was really happy to see that the president approved the funding, and now that's going to free up millions of dollars to flow our way is so important. I know you covered that right through that was in May, you said, right, when the dams broke?
Right. Well, and it was right on the heels of this pandemic. They have had an incredibly bad time in mid-Michigan I don't think those of us here downstate really realize the full extent of it.
Yeah, it's it was like a block out of all other news for a while with COVID-19. Everything dominating the news was involving COVID, and when those dams broke, it was unbelievable and so devastating to so many people. One of my daughters, as part of her school project, went up to help out, and they were taking sandbags and trying to stop the water from coming in, and it was a great experience for her from an educational standpoint, and to see how devastating Mother Nature can be, and how it is to help people, but to see so many people in such disarray from the flooding and in the middle of a pandemic, and then as I know you followed this, but people trying to recover, and they're just being told, sorry, there's no insurance money, that's not covered, we can't help you. In a flood it's really like a fire. I mean, it's just as devastating. It just wipes you out.
I've always heard from the insurance adjusters that water is worse than fire, because it's very insidious. It goes to places you don't really see at first, and the damage can be seen later. And the overwhelming, I just can't remember, I can't imagine what the overwhelming sense of dread would be for a lot of these people trying to deal. You've lost all your stuff in the middle of a pandemic when, we're all circling the wagons and trying to stay home. Well, you've lost all that. It's pretty devastating.
And then as soon as you get that approval for the major disaster funding, it's like flipping a switch, and all of a sudden everybody can start providing help and money and resources, because they know that they're going to get paid because the government has backed it up. So it's almost just like flipping on a switch where people can jump in and start making a difference.
Right. And I know that you've been on the scene for disasters, natural disasters like this. I'll never forget covering a couple of tornadoes. It is jaw-dropping when you're standing there and you scan the scene and you see the devastation. Everywhere your eye looks is just utter devastation. Yeah,
and I was driving up north, and you go right through Saginaw and in the Midland area, and as I was driving through, I was just thinking about all those businesses there that were just struggling to stay alive because of COVID and not having customers and the mandatory lockdown, and then to have just the dam break and the rivers flow and wipe everything out like that. I mean, just to be able to get up and face all of that coming at you at one time is just so overwhelming. Well, it was also great to see the relief efforts. I mean, you just said your daughter was involved in all that. A lot of church groups from all over the state and other organizations, civic organizations, stepped in to really show their stuff, and it was really great to see. Yeah. So Ann sent over this story from the Detroit Zoo. I don't know if you saw it or not, but about the newborn red panda. Did you see?
No, I'll have to look at that.
Yeah. So there's they have the new panda, which is great, and there's always like a little celebration, and it's so fun when a new animal is born at the zoo. Well, in this case, they're worried because red foxes in the area are out and about, and they're worried the foxes will get to the newborn panda, and they're trying to protect the panda from the foxes. And it got me thinking about just at home. Do you guys ever have either foxes or coyotes or whatever? You never really know what exactly is out there, right?
Yeah, we've had all of them. The coyotes been here, foxes have been here, deer. I just had to chase a deer off of our lot yesterday.
So do you have dogs? I have a dog, so I know when I get worried, I'll hear barking. Of course, I get worried. I'm more worried that the dog will get hit by a skunk than attacked by a coyote.
No, and our dog is a hunting dog. She's a German Shorthair retriever, German Shorthair pointer black lab mix. So she's much of a hunting dog. So when she sees a deer out there, she just loses her mind. And I don't want her to hurt the deer. I just want it to be chased off. That's all.
Yeah. Well, the zoo has permits to, be able to protect animals, newborn animals, and protect obviously people that come to the zoo. And so they're on it, and I'm sure it will be fine. But it's a good reminder to get out to the zoo and maybe see the red panda. And I know it's hot out there, but they always have the spray and the sprinklers out there.
Right.
It's open areas, a nice place to go, and maybe that'll be a good stop this weekend to check in on the red panda.
Very safe area to go.
All right, you're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. Let's check in on weather and traffic with Rich Levinsky.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Looking for an easier way to find your next job? It's time to get to know Express Employment Professionals. Visit ExpressPros.com to find one of over 830 locations to help support your workforce needs.
We have an accident on US 23 northbound before Thompson Road that's causing slow traffic from North Road. We also picked up an accident on the Southfield Freeway southbound. That's just after Grand River Avenue. Your right lane is blocked there. And please avoid Newburgh Road southbound between Schoolcraft and I-96 due to a broken water main. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Wallstrom Marine. Head north with Wallstrom Marine, Northern Michigan's largest boat dealer and full-service marina. Visit their new and improved Traverse City location to check out their luxury lines and newly added brands, or get a free market evaluation on your current boat. Visit one of their 5 showroom locations or wallstrom.com. Here's your forecast.
We'll crank out some thunderstorms off to the west. Seen some come through west to east this morning, especially mid to late morning. This afternoon, more showers and thunderstorms are possible. Gusty winds and small hail. Some heavy downpours even mix in a slight tornado risk, 86 degrees. Thunderstorms early tonight. Still a chance overnight, 68. And the front will go through tomorrow morning with a few showers, partly cloudy. Actually pretty nice and breezy in the afternoon, 84. Sunday, clouds, sun, 83. From the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray staging on News Talk 760 WJR.
Treetops Resort, Palmer, Nicholas, Trevino, and Mickelson. It's time to add your name to the greats who have played Treetops. Championship packages start as low as $334 per person. Visit treetops.com. That's treetops.com.
It's Ken and Chuck, the inside-outside guys, here to talk about CertaPro painters.
That's right, Ken. The state is reopening and CertaPro Painters is ready to get back to work.
Rest assured, CertaPro Painters knows how important your home is to you. They're taking precautions recommended by public health officials to help keep you and the painting team safe.
Very cool stuff, too, like free remote estimates for painting the outside or inside of your home. It's quick, safe, and easy.
And you know CertaPro Painters does a great job. Just ask WJR's Steve Courtney.
CertaPro Painters took excellent care of me. I had some exterior painting done, and they were on top of their game. They provided a custom project plan, firm estimate, and daily progress reports. You can trust CertaPro Painters to get the job done right and safely.
Interior or exterior, residential or commercial, CertaPro can take care of it all. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. They're right here in our community.
Just a quick backstage comment here for our listeners. I just asked Brian. Okay, so Kevin's there. I just wanted to make sure. I didn't want one to lose one guest without having the other.
Right. All right.
We're good.
You take care of all that stuff.
That's right. I got it. I think.
Can we blame Paul because he was sick?
Conservative Republican. She'll stand with President Trump from day one.
I know what it takes to fix our economy. I will stand with President Trump to hold China accountable, make new trade deals that put Michigan first, and bring manufacturing jobs back to America so we never have to depend on China again. Let's make America great.
Conservative, business leader, political outsider, pro-Trump Republican, Lisa McClain for Congress.
I'm Lisa McClain, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Lisa McClain for Congress.
Interested in advertising your business on WJR? Send an email to advertising@WJR.com. With nearly 10 million people residing within the reach of our signal, WJR gets results. Email us today, advertising@WJR.com.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
We are facing uncertain and unprecedented times, and the health, safety, and wellness of our student athletes, coaches, game officials, and others associated with our sports programs and campuses remain our number one priority. With that, the Big Ten announced if there are sports in the fall, Big Ten schools will be in conference games only. Joining us now is a very special guest, Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren. Kevin, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, good morning, Kevin. Good to hear your voice and good to be on your show this morning.
Yeah, it's welcome to the show. Welcome to the Big Ten. The number of things you've faced early in your tenure have been trying, I'm sure. How have you been dealing with this, and how when you get in that room, how are these difficult decisions made?
I mean, the best thing we all can do is to start off each day with a positive attitude, with prayer and just again approach the day that we're going to do the best we possibly can with the information that we have at that point in time. And when it comes to my job on a daily basis, it's pretty straightforward that we always have to make sure that we put the health, safety, and wellness of our student athletes and our coaches and staff meetings and our fans at our number one priorities. That we just want to make sure that we always do what's right by our student athletes and make sure that we make the best decisions based upon the best advice from our medical experts at that point in time.
We all love our Big Ten sports, and we get so excited watching them. And we've missed sports so much through all of this, and lots of times, just not with the pandemic, but lots of times we do forget these are just young adults that are involved in college sports, and I think it's important that we always put that first and remember that.
Yeah, we always have to. I mean, they're talented. I mean, they're, one good thing that I have just been incredibly impressed with is I knew the history of the Big Ten Conference, had enjoyed always watching the Big Ten athletics, had lived my last 15 years in Minnesota, which is Big Ten, country. And so I understand the talent of our student athletes, but getting a chance to work with them hand in hand since I've been here, they're not only talented athletically, but just from an intellectual standpoint, they are incredibly bright. They're hardworking. They have empathy and compassion. And yeah, we do have to remind ourselves that these are not professional athletes. These are students first and athletes second. And they're young. I mean, most of our student athletes are somewhere between 17 and 23 years old. And I think the one thing that has helped me to do the best I can to navigate these waters is I have a son who's a football student athlete at Mississippi State in the SEC. And so, understanding what he's focused on, what his concerns are. I mean, he's in summer school now, is trying to get ready for the season. We talk every single night as a family, and, hearing the things that are on his heart and on his mind, has been able to give me really good insight as far as what the young people in college athletics are dealing with right now.
So all of the conferences are dealing with what they're going to do in the fall, if there's going to be sports at all. What were some of the key decisions or key issues that helped you in coming up with the decisions that you did?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is again, we're focused on how to play this upcoming season, to participate in fall sports, but really to do it in a safe and responsible manner. Based upon the advice of our medical experts. But as easy as I say that, we have to be prepared that, sports in the fall may not occur. And if our medical experts advise us that the sports should not be played for whatever reasons, then we'll follow that advice. But one thing we felt as a conference-only schedule or conference-only competition in the Big Ten, it provides us with the greatest flexibility to be able to adjust and make quick decisions in real time based upon the most current medical advice. Because one thing we have to realize, this is one of the few circumstances in life where you can really look around and ask someone, hey, the last time the COVID-19 virus hit, how did you all handle that? And when you think about that, there's not one person on the face of this earth right now who could give you an answer. And that is, I can't think of another circumstance that is going on right now in our world. We are really figuring this out as we go. We're trying to do the things that we feel are in the best interest of our student athletes and our Big Ten schools. This is truly what they call in law a case of first impression. And so this is one of those situations that COVID-19, I think many of us had heard about it in December a little bit more in January, and heard a little bit more about that in February. But then in March is when it really, people started to realize it was serious. Fortunately, working with some of our incredible staff people, and one of your close individuals, Diane Dietz, who was a great basketball player at the University of Michigan and has been with the conference and has been an incredible trusted advisor of mine. You know, she and I talked early in March, really late February, but early in March, and said about, why don't we come together and form an emerging infectious disease task force? And we did that. I'm glad we did it. And because we were able to start having meetings with our 14 members of our task force, who are incredible individuals in the medical profession, to start really pulling this information together and helping us look into, the virus and other operational things we should be doing. But that was in March. And you think about it, we're only in the first part of July. So it's only been a couple months that we're starting to have an opportunity to understand what this really virus is about, how it mutates. And so I'm just literally hoping and praying on a daily basis that we end up kind of figuring out how we can get society back to a normal level where we can operate in the manner that we did before this virus attacked our world.
Yeah, you talk about the science, and you guys are blessed to have some of the best universities in the world who can help give you real-time advice based on what the scientific community knows at the time. I noticed that you talked a little bit about travel and control of where kids might travel to play, and while there may not be a lot of difference between, say, Michigan or Michigan State traveling to Iowa or South Bend, Indiana, is it really about knowing what the schools in the conference are going to be doing together because you're all in the same conference?
Yeah, I'm a big believer, again, just from a flexibility standpoint. We can, adjust our operations throughout the seasons because things are going to happen. Again, I think we all have reached the conclusion that we know going into this season is not going to be a straight line. That we're going to be dealing, with this issue on a daily basis, and so we just think by having basically conference-only competition against Big Ten teams, not only in football but in all of our sports, from a travel, from an operational standpoint, from a logistics, is really going to be the most important, and also from a health and safety standpoint. So this will be something that I'm sure all of us here, that either our children or grandchildren at some point in time into the future will ask us, what was that COVID-19, virus like in 2020, and how it impacted college sports and professional sports. And along the lines of professional sports, one of the things that we're always trying to do is continually gather information. I know the MLS, returned this week, and Major League Baseball is back practicing, and even from our standpoint, watching what's going on in the NBA. I mean, they started practice yesterday. I was able to catch some of the clips on the news last night and seeing some of the practices occur. So it's going to be really critical for us to make sure that we always follow the advice of our medical experts, listen to them, but also watch what's going on in the world from a sports standpoint, and to see how this is impacting, athletes around the world, but especially here in our professional sports league, and to see what we can learn. We're in constant communication with other leagues and looking for best practices. And I know we all want to have sports in the fall. We really do. But we have a responsibility to make sure that our student athletes are kept healthy and safe at all levels, physically and emotionally and mentally, and that they know that we're there for them. And that's one of the reasons why we made it clear our summer activities are all voluntary now. And then also, I think the other big thing that we wanted to articulate yesterday is that we're honoring their scholarships 100%. So any student athlete who says, I'm not comfortable in training this summer or returning to campus or playing sports, their scholarship is honored. Their standing on the team will be in a very positive manner still. So there'll be no ramifications. And I think that was really important for people to understand that we're doing everything we can based upon the information that we have at this point in time to take care of our student athletes.
Yeah, it's great to see schools that might be rivals on the field all pulling together and sharing information for the safety of the kids. Do you know what you're going to do about fans in the stands?
No, we haven't. I mean, we have as I mentioned yesterday, this is really where the work begins. We have to work through, issues with our network partners and what happens with fans. But again, this is one step. We felt the first step. We're taking one step and one day at a time, and this is fluid. And we'll continually try to make the best decisions that we possibly can, and just keep our student athletes at the top of the list.
All right, Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren, thanks for being on the show. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, and I appreciate everything you do, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you very much. Let's check in with weather and traffic and Rich Lazinski.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Looking for an easier way to find your next job? It's time to get to know Express Employment Professionals. Visit ExpressPros.com to find one of over 830 locations to help support your workforce needs.
WJR Traffic First is also sponsored by Pain Free Life Centers of Troy. Pain Free Life Centers is the only center in Michigan using FDA-approved high-intensity, high-dose lasers for pain management. No drugs, no injections, no side effects. Go where Red Wings legend Darren McCarty goes to treat his pain. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Call 248-879-1100 today. An accident blocks the right lane on the southbound Southfield Freeway just after Grand River Avenue. We still have that wreck on US 23 northbound. That's before Thompson Road. It's causing slow traffic from North Road. And please avoid Newburgh Road, southbound between Schoolcraft and I-96 due to a broken water main. Now WJR weather first from the Weather Channel. Scattered thunderstorms at 79 degrees. I'm Rich Luzinski. WJR News in 2 minutes.
Whether you're on a morning commute, a cross-country road trip, or a relaxing Sunday drive, Bridgestone Tires will be with you wherever life's roads may lead. As the auto industry ramps up, Bridgestone will be there to provide safe, high-performing tires to their OEM partners and retail customers. Bridgestone knows a better tomorrow starts now and is proud to support WJR's coverage of the worldwide launch of the 2021 Bronco, July 13th at 8 p.m. The all-new Ford Bronco built wild. Visit WJR.com and get a front seat.
Technology is transforming every aspect of business. That's why Walsh and Kettering University have come together to create the...
Hello.
Wait, unmute. All right, so what do you think after what he said?
Well, like I said, these guys are kids. I mean, they're like fans. That's the. I mean, I know they need to make money off of football. It's a big deal, right? So if they can play football on TV, then they can offset some of the massive losses. But what I didn't get to ask them is like obviously like tennis is safer than football. So will they go sport by sport, or will they just say it's all or nothing? And my guess is they'll probably go all or nothing. That's what the Ivy League schools did.
So going back to the football, obviously the football is not safe, or at least somewhat shaky.
It's definitely have a ton of contact.
Reasons, right? Contact, yelling.
It's probably one of the toughest of all the sports. Yeah.
So do you also foresee, like, let's say they decide to play, do you also foresee some of the parents of like maybe the all-star type athletes saying, you're not playing this year, I don't want you to get sick? Do you expect any of that?
Yeah. So you only get so many years of eligibility to sit out. I'm confident that the universities will give them the option to sit out. And
I think they are going to. I thought I saw.
And then you wouldn't lose your year of eligibility, so you get a fifth year. There's some advantage to that. A lot of people like getting that fifth year because you can get your master's started. While you're on scholarship. I don't know. There's also, another curveball to all this. This is the first year you can make money off your image and name. So individual players can do their own deals with, Nike or whoever they want, to make money. So will they be, in a hurry to go out and make some money. That'll be case by case. Some families really struggle,
Right.
and will they be out there so that they can get a deal with a car dealership, or
Right.
someone else who maybe doesn't need the money, says, you know what, I'm going to take this year off because I don't want to catch COVID. And then again, you got the odds. I mean, you got to remember, young people are not dying in big numbers. I mean,
Right.
nobody's dying in big numbers. Honestly, the percentage of fatalities is not super high, but it's a lot of people, and a lot of people are getting sick, and it just depends on how sick. But could you imagine if you were an unbelievable athlete, you caught COVID and it became career ending,
Or life ending.
or obviously life ending. Yeah.
Would be.
And so, yeah, I mean, these are, unbelievable decisions that have to be made. I do like what I heard from Kevin Warren is that, look, we know these are kids, these are young adults. We can't put them in danger, so we have to take every step we can to keep them safe. So there'll be a lot of testing. They do have fantastic doctors. That's good.
Aren't they testing them now, Kev?
They're testing temperatures every day. They're wearing masks everywhere. I saw Jim Harbaugh yesterday talking about that his players will wear masks and be responsible, or they will not be allowed to be on the team. They won't be allowed to play. They won't be allowed to come to practice if they're not following the rules everywhere. Then they're not going to be. So really, I think the universities are taking the right approach by being cautious and being serious, because it's serious. The rest of us, it's easy for us to say we want sports or we want to go out, but I mean, it's all the medical information is that this thing is still with us. It's
Very
on the rise again.
Extremely contagious. We know that, right?
Oh yeah. So we're and if it is a true second wave and it comes in like the first wave, it's going to be really difficult. People are going to be much angrier or intolerant this time around than the first time, probably.
Yeah, I think so too. But I'm trying to think this through. So let's say you have every player tested, every player masked up before the game, then so they all go out to play. So I can see that working. Where I see trouble is travel. They're going to have to, you'd have
locker rooms and
that might be a little different situation.
That's what I was kind of getting at, like maybe why they're just playing in the Big Ten, because they can say, look, in the Big Ten, we're going to make sure that every locker is cleaned and sprayed. We're going to make sure they're going to make sure all the protocols are followed. Not that other universities wouldn't, but you just don't know. I mean, once you go to Miami or somewhere else, wherever you're going, you don't know exactly what their protocols are. But in the Big Ten, you can say, this is how we're going to keep the kids safe, and we're going to do it the same at all of our universities, which would help with some of that travel. I don't know I don't know if all the teams have their own private planes or not. I think maybe they do, so they can maybe eliminate some of that travel.
Because they'd have to do that. And they'd have to have one specific hotel that they know had been thoroughly
It's a lot. It shows you how much money the sports bring in to try and make a go of it.
Right. Well, and food. We haven't even talked about that. Or making sure that nobody goes out. How sometimes somebody might go out after hours or whatever.
For sure.
Our next guest, Norm, is there.
I love Norm.
I do too. So in fact, when I saw that, I'm like, oh, I haven't heard from him in a long time. Okay, I'm headed back.
Awesome. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Online student services, financial aid and advising, and a bookstore that delivers to your doorstep. It's a new day and a new way at WCCCD. Register for summer and fall now at www.wcccd.edu.
From the great voice of the Great Lakes, this is Paul W. Smith on WJR with Kevin Dietz filling in for Paul.
Art Van Furniture was a household name in Michigan for more than 60 years. They sponsored the parade. They ran lots of TV commercials, and they had huge holiday sales that everybody rushed out to get a good deal on a sofa. And then the shocking news came of its demise. How did it happen? Norm Sinclair, reporter and writer of D Business, is here to tell us all about it. Norm, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Thanks for having me, Kevin. Nice to talk to you again.
I know it's been a long time. I was glad to see that you were going to be on the show this morning, and I was glad to see that you were looking at this story, because if Norm Sinclair is writing a story, you know that this was a deep dive, and that a lot of new information will be coming out. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you were able to find out about this? Because I think most of our listeners, like me, just were stunned when suddenly Art Van, was in big trouble, and then, out of business.
Yeah. Well, this is a real tragic story, Kevin. You have a 60-year family business running, like a smooth machine, but the founder and the key player sells the company. And what most of us don't understand, when companies like this one, a family-owned company, owns all its real estate, all the stores, in very good locations, sometimes folks who step in to buy a company like that, they're not as interested in the business as they are in the real estate. And the equity firm from Boston that came in and bought Art Van in 2017 or late 2016, they immediately on closing sold off most of the attractive real estate, including 20 stores in Michigan that were high-performing stores, to real estate investment trusts that had been formed strictly for that purpose. They get investors to set up these trusts, they buy the real estate, and then they lease the stores back to the Art Van company, the new Art Van company. Now, the problem with that is that Art Van used to write off maybe 3% as rent back to his business for these stores. These REITs were getting 11% on 20-year leases. And as Alan Sussman, a longtime friend of Art Van, who walked me through a lot of this, explained, when you turn over your stores to landlords, you lose control of the bottom performing stores because you can't do anything with them. If a store, when Art Van was running the company, if a store was underperforming or not doing well, he could close that one and expand one nearby, or he could not charge himself any rent. He could make a couple of moves. When you have, a landlord with a 20-year lease, you're stuck. And that started the problems for Art Van, because it was a company without debt. And all of a sudden, you have these huge leases on your stores, and you have folks coming in from Boston, as Sussman says, the Thomas Lee company that came in and bought Art Van sent in young folks who totally did not read the market and had no knowledge about Art Van. They thought Art Van's business had to be very unpopular because he had so many sales. And they had no clue that this was the bedrock of Art Van. He had sales on top of sales, as you well know. As he used to say, death, taxes, and Art Van's on sale. And he ran the company.
So Norm, I wondered, is this something that Art Van, the family, knew the East Coast company was going to do? Is it something they should have known might happen? Does this company have a history of busting apart companies and selling it off for parts? What are your thoughts on how much the Van Elslander family knew about this?
Well, that's a tricky one, Kevin. Sussman, who was running mate of Van Elslander for 30 years, said that he had no idea that this would happen. He was 86 years old. Van Elsler was. He was not in good health, and he was looking to, sell the company and perpetuate it in good hands. But as one of the folks I talked to, Van Conway, the turnaround specialist in Birmingham, said, it's like buying the New England Patriots, but you didn't get Tom Brady.
Right.
It's not the same team. And they bought the company without Art Van to guide him through the competition and this sort of thing. I don't think they knew that this would happen. Of course, there are consequences to that, as some of the lawyers explained to me, that if you, when a company is sold and almost immediately starts going out of business in a year or two, there's a fraudulent a transfer issue that's raised here. What did you know, or how were the finances? Did you have enough money to operate the business when you went into that deal, or was this just to make a big sale, cash out, and get out? And some of the lawyers I spoke to think we might be hearing more about this in court as the case, unfolds in bankruptcy court.
Did the equity firm make money on this deal, or did they lose as well?
Oh, again, they're private, so we don't know, but they sold the real estate off at a pretty good sum. And again, if you go back to the classic case, is what happened to Kmart when Alan Lampert, a Chicago financier, bought the Kmart Corporation. At the time, Kmart was still doing very well, or doing well enough to not raise any alarms. Lampert bought the chain and immediately sold off 70 stores. He paid $800 million for the entire Kmart chain, sold off 70 of the stores for $900 million to Home Depot and Sears. And so he made a big profit right away. The stock in Kmart went up, and he made even more money. So I would, and again, the folks I talked to figured that the $612 million that Lee paid the Art Van family for the business, they pretty much recouped that in the sale of the real estate.
All right, Norm Sinclair, we'll be following you in deep business. Art Van, very near and dear to all of our hearts. We will watch this, and if it gets to court, it could really get interesting. Thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Okay, Kevin. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Talk soon. Let's check weather and traffic with Rich Lazinski.
This report is sponsored by Ascension Care Teams at GetAscensionMichiganCare.com. Ascension caregivers are here with you, and they're not going anywhere. At this time, you can still get the care you need when you need it. They're making sure their hospitals and sites of care are safe and ready for you when you need them. In-person and virtual visits. Get the care you need at GetAscensionMichiganCare.com.
That wreck on US 23 northbound before Thompson Road has cleared. Also, that wreck on the southbound Southfield Freeway just after Grand River has cleared as well. And please avoid Newburgh Road southbound between Schoolcraft and I-96. That's due to a broken water main. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by North Bloomfield Properties. If you're looking for a place to call home, let North Bloomfield Properties find the best place for you and your family. They also provide pre-screened quality tenants to their property owners. They love to match good people to good homes. Contact them today, northbloomfield.com. Here's your forecast.
Pretty busy day today with rounds of showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. We'll get some later this morning and some scattered around this afternoon. Strong gusty winds and heavy rainfall. The threat for some hail and maybe a spin-up isolated tornado. 86 degrees. Scattered thunderstorms this evening. Still a threat overnight, 68. Showers tomorrow morning. Then we settle down a bit in the afternoon. Partial clouds at high of 84. Sunshine clouds on Sunday, 83. From the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Stagicom, News Talk 760 WJR.
We know life's a little different. It's been a while since you've had a professional haircut, and it's been way too long since you've made a reservation for a date night. But right now, we need a little different, because different is a good thing. When you're ready to get off the sidewalk and onto a trail, get out of the kiddie pool and into a river kayak, or just experience something different, we'll be ready. We hope to see you soon in Michigan's Great Lakes Bay region, where life is just a little different.
I'm Dr. Carol Kowalczyk, founder of the Michigan Center for Fertility and Women's Health. If you or someone you know is struggling with infertility, we can help with offices in Warren, Lake Orion, and our new satellite offices in Plymouth and Bloomfield Hills. Learn more about our leading-edge alternative fertility care at mifertility.com.
It could be a routine drive to pick up the kids after school or an epic road trip across the country. No matter where your travels take you, we know those miles count. We're Marathon. We have over 5,700 stations across our great nation. Our people are working hard every day to provide you with quality top-tier gasoline to improve engine performance and fuel your life. Marathon, fueling the American spirit.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 6655 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 6655. Enjoy.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
When you think about what activity you want to do after COVID-19 restrictions are lifted, a study came out that shows what people want to do in the first month. And at the top of the list is shop at a local merchant, 52%. Next is visit relatives, 48%. That makes sense. At the very bottom of the list, though, is see a movie in a movie theater at 28%. And that's some troubling news for the movie theater industry. Joining us on the show right now is Greg Russell of Movie Show Plus. Greg, welcome to the Paul W. Smith Show.
Hey, Kevin. Great to talk to you again. Hope all is well.
Yeah, all is well. I'm just looking at this study. Within a month of the restrictions all being lifted, only 28% want to hit a movie theater. We all love going to the movies, but for some reason, it seems the theater is not one of the first places we want to go to once we're sort of back to our new normal. How big of a problem do you think that is for the movie industry?
Oh, like I said, it's very big because I've heard so many different things that they're thinking about doing when they reopen, where it might be, let's say if it's you and your wife going, you two can sit together, but then there's going to be like at least two empty seats on each side of you. And depending on the size of the theater, there might not be someone sitting behind you or in front of you. So they're going to have to work all that out. And, it's one of those things where people, like you said, are thinking about, okay, what about concessions? We're going to go up there and, get food and different things, from people, and maybe they're wearing gloves and different things like that, but then they're still afraid. But then also the biggest thing, Kevin, that's going on now, as you know, people for the past 3 months have kind of gotten used to watching even the new movies coming out, streaming at home, where everyone's got, like we say nowadays, these great big TVs, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90-inch TVs, where it's almost like having the theater at home. Now, true enough, people like yourself and myself there is still nothing like going to a movie theater, for a viewing experience. But it's just going to be, like you said, just kind of strange just to see what they can do to get people pulled back into those theater seats.
Yeah, I was looking at movies to rent the other day, and a price of about $19.99 popped up, and I was $19.99. What is going on here?
Right.
But it was a new movie that normally probably would have gone to the theaters. I start doing the math in my head. Well, $20 isn't so bad.
Right.
If you put everything into the equation. But at the same time, I mean, going to the movie for me is about the popcorn. I want to get that popcorn, but if I go to the theater and there's a chance that the concession stand is not even going to be open, or if it is, maybe it's the boxes of box candy or something like that. It's really going to be tough. It's going to be difficult for the movie theater owners. But I do know that people who love the movies are going to want to go. They're just going to want to know that everyone's doing everything they can to keep it as safe as possible.
No, you're absolutely right. Because I mean, you think about like if a blockbuster like a Star Wars movie comes out, no matter how big your screen or whatever it is at home, you still want to see something like that on the big screen with the, back in our day they used to call it surround sound, like that in the theater.
Right.
So you're really pulled into it. But like you said, that's going to be something that we're definitely keeping an eye on, and hoping that things will work out. I know also more and more drive-in theaters have been popping up, even here locally. So, that might be the first kick for everybody, just to get them used to going out and seeing movies again.
Well, it's Friday. People don't want to think about COVID. They want to think about what they should watch this weekend. What movies should we be looking for?
Well, there's really only one coming out this weekend, but I don't think you'll mind watching it. It's called The Old Guard, starring Charlize Theron. And what it is, she leads this group of mercenaries.
I like seeing her movies at the big screen.
Right. And she has become such the action hero, and that's what she is in this film. She leads this group of mercenaries that have this mysterious inability to die. So they've been together for like centuries. But now all of a sudden, this new group shows up who's kind of learned about their vulnerability, and they're going to try and take away their powers and then use them for evil things, of course. And so it's all about this great fight where that's what this movie is. It's just pure action. And, she has recently in, the past few years, just become this dynamic superstar in regards to, action films. I mean, she and Keanu Reeves need to do a film together, I think. And maybe even throw Tom Cruise in there too.
Well, female action heroes has really been big. I think I go back to Angelina Jolie as when I think of the first. There's also on television. One of the big stars had a show as well. But we've been seeing a lot more of this, and they're really fun to watch, and they've really been doing well.
Yeah, and this is truly one of those, as we like to call them, popcorn movies. You're not going to go in there thinking, well, that couldn't really happen in real life. Well, actually, nothing in this movie could happen in real life, but that's not why you're watching it. You're watching it, to escape from real life and enjoy some other fun stuff. So, and like you said, then just with Charlize, here's another person who she could have easily just always hung on just doing glamour roles. But, even thinking back to when she did Monster, where she gained weight, looked completely different to get into a role. And this one, she's, basically dirty looking all the time because she's fighting. But it's just a fun film to see.
Yeah, and how great for her to be able to do different kinds of movies, and she's such a great actress. So for her to have a little fun in The Old Guard, that sounds great. Have you seen anything on this Palm Springs movie? I was flipping through what's coming up there. It's Andy Samberg movie. I think that's going to be kind of fun.
I've heard about it from some people who actually have already seen the pre-screening. I didn't get an opportunity, but yeah, they did. It's a fun movie, quirky, of course, with him in it, and another fun one to watch.
They were saying it's kind of like this theme that we see in so many movies, like Groundhog's Day, where you live in the same day over and over again, or you're trapped in the same circumstance over and over. But this time there's two people instead of one, and it allowed them to kind of have some different outcomes from the Groundhog's Day type experience.
And that would be great. Yeah, I mean, definitely doing a buddy along with you, reliving everything. Yeah, you can. That sounds like something that would be a lot of fun. You and I, we live the same day.
I like it. I kind of like it. So do you know how Hamilton did? I was curious. Last time I talked to you, Hamilton was about to stream in a few hours, and I've seen a couple ads for it. Do you know if it's being received well?
Oh yeah, I don't remember the exact numbers, but I mean Disney Plus. I think they went up by something like 76% as far as, people watching, and they made a ton last week. It's kind of like everyone I know watched it. I know Dana, who's not with us today, he watched it. I heard from her.
She's still watching it.
Other folks.
All right, Greg Russell of Movie Show Plus. Thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
All right, Kevin, always a pleasure, man. You take care.
All right, have a great weekend. Let's check traffic with Rich Lazinski.
This report is sponsored by Ascension Care teams at GetAscensionMichiganCare.com. Ascension caregivers are here with you, and they're not going anywhere at this time. You can still get the care you need when you need it. They're making sure their hospitals and sites of care are safe and ready for you when you need them, in person and virtual visits. Get the care you need at GetAscensionMichiganCare.com.
The off-ramp is closed on I-69 westbound at Bristol Road due to an accident. Please avoid Newburgh Road southbound between Schoolcraft and I-96 due to a broken water main, and expect slower conditions on the Southfield Freeway in both directions due to construction at Michigan Avenue. Now WJR weather first from the Weather Channel. Scattered thunderstorms, it's 80 degrees. I'm Rich Luzinski, WJR News, in 2 minutes.
Summertime's great, but just because the temps are high doesn't mean your energy bill has to be. Take some simple, low-cost tips from DTE, like changing your air filter every 3 months to make sure you're
still here.
I'm back.
Yeah, where were you? Were you getting your work done? Were you planning Monday's show and posting things on the web? And
I'm planning Monday's show. I certainly am. Yes,
you were off tweeting or something.
Yeah, that's it. I actually have quite a bit of Monday set up, except the 8 o'clock hour, Kev, for you.
Nice.
We have a lot of people. There's a lot going on today, and I couldn't fit it all in.
Yeah.
So
it's a good problem to have.
It's for a producer, it's a fabulous problem to have. But some of the interesting stuff from Monday, Gary Brown is going to come on.
Oh, great.
He wants to respond to that ACLU lawsuit that has been filed on water shutoffs.
Right.
And it is kind of an interesting lawsuit because maybe I'm mistaken, but I thought there were going to be no water shutoffs during COVID.
Yeah, this has gone on way before COVID. You remember? I mean, Mayor Duggan had said, look, I mean, nobody's paying their water bills. We have to, the people who can pay their water bills need to. We can't operate a city without people paying their bills. So they started doing massive shutoffs. The ACLU got involved and then they sort of tried to figure out a way to work through that. But COVID, I believe you're right. The people were not being shut off during COVID, but then things have opened up again. So as they open up, are they starting to send out bills and what's happening and how is that working? And the city, I'm sure is anxious to get some revenue in. The hits to all of the budgets for major cities around the country are devastating in the state as well. And Gary's really great because he tells it like it is. He's like, look, here's what the situation is. And sometimes they're not aware of how severe the problems are. But I've lived here forever. I was stunned to find out how many people don't have water. And they literally put out garbage cans when it rains to collect water. And they then take that water and boil it. And they use that for drinking water and to bathe and to wash dishes. I mean, not just dozens, I'm talking hundreds, thousands of people in Metro Detroit don't have water, and that's how they operate. And so there's a real problem in finding out. There's organizations that help families, but they can't always find them, and sometimes it's finding out who has water and who doesn't, and it's a very serious problem. I mean, look, having lived through Flint, how difficult it is to not have running water. So yeah, that'll be really great to get Gary on, and I'll read the lawsuit again over the weekend, and that should be great.
Where
great
it
interview.
is, yeah. The other interesting story is Ora Peskovitz, from the president of Oakland U.
Oh yeah.
She is going to join you because she's very concerned about the recent information that if the kids don't go back to school in the fall, that the foreign students would have to leave the United States, and she's put out a statement about it, and she's very concerned, and she's trying to figure out a way, obviously, to keep the students here.
Yeah, and I know people in Washington are working through that issue, but they're at odds over it. It's not likely something that will be solved by the time school starts or doesn't start. And I know that when I first read that story, I thought it was part of the problem that the feds were having with fake universities and people using the excuse of going to school to get into the country and then stay in the country, but they weren't really going to school. So there was a big crackdown on that. But you can see how that would affect legitimate people who are here to get an education. If there's a crackdown and they're sending people home, then that's a big problem for the universities.
They should be able to, tell the difference. And so if a student here, they're going to Oakland and, at the moment they can't go to the class physically, but it's proven that they're enrolled at a specific university. I mean, it's all part of the American experience. Shouldn't that student be able to stay here?
Absolutely. I just started to laugh. I just said it seems like they should be able to tell so many things. I think we just gave about $20 billion to fake people in the COVID stimulus package. People, fake names, people who've been dead. Just stolen identities. People who want to break the law and get around the system are very creative. And it's like the IRS, your chances of getting audited aren't very high.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is the honor system. And so, yeah, there should be, it seems like with all the technology these days, there should be a system to be able to, track who's here for an education and who's not really going to schools and whatnot. But
it's all there.
Every day a story pops up about somebody, some medical scammed, $20 million before any red flags went up, and the funding stopped. It's crazy. It's maddening.
And Representative Yaroche is going to join us on Monday about his fireworks concerns. So that's all taken care of. And I thought maybe you could get your guest in, Kevin.
Yep. He's going to come back. Yep.
So I put him in there, but you'll see.
Perfect.
Give him the time. And then I know you wanted some lawyers on.
Yep.
Okay,
so
great.
We'll get that filled up. I also want to jump in next week on politics. I want to get some of our political experts on. The primary is right around the corner, and I don't know that you don't see a lot. You've seen the lawn signs go up now in the last couple of weeks, but there hasn't been a lot of conversation. I don't know how educated voters are going to be when they go to the polls. And so we'll get into some of that too. But,
and Mr. Miller is standing by. So
all right, Dan Miller's in the house.
Stage, yes, Dan Miller.
All right, good.
Floors, and the smell in your crawl space is more than just embarrassing. It could be a sign of a larger issue like mold, mildew, and wood rot. The experts at Foundation Systems of Michigan have the solution. Their exclusive vapor lock system locks out harmful moisture, protecting your home's structural integrity and creating an all-around more comfortable environment so you can get back to the important things.
Call 877-DRY-MISH.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
Big Ten marquee non-conference matchups, including Michigan at Washington, Ohio State at Oregon, Michigan State hosting Miami, and Wisconsin against Notre Dame at Lambeau Field are all canceled as the Big Ten moves to an in-conference only schedule to protect kids from COVID-19. And that is a big if kids are allowed to play sports this fall at all. Joining us on the line now is Dan Miller, Lions Radio play-by-play announcer. Dan, welcome to the Paul W. Smith Show.
Hey, Kevin, thanks. How you doing?
Good. So at first blush, how did this hit you?
Well, look, and we're talking opinions here, not facts, and not based on something I've been told. But I'm very pessimistic about the chances that there's going to be fall sports and that there's going to be football. So I think this is a step towards the Big Ten saying, okay, this is the best we can come up with right now. But really, this isn't, I think, as we've all found out in our lives, this isn't about the plans you make. This is about how the virus reacts to the population right now, and frankly, how the population reacts to the virus in some ways. This has not been a good week for fall sports when the Ivy League completely cancels their fall sports schedule, when we see Ohio State and North Carolina stop voluntary workouts because of a high number of positive COVID-19 tests. Harvard, Rutgers started to go online. And I think, Kevin, that's one thing to watch is in the next couple of weeks, how many colleges start to announce, okay, we have to go online. We're not going to be able to have kids in the classroom. Because if you're online, it's almost impossible to tell your football team to be on campus and play football when it's not safe enough to have your fellow students on campus. So there's still so many things that have to happen. But this is I think a moment in a long sequence of events that will tell us whether or not we have football, and that sequence will probably come to a head here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, earlier on the show, we had Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren on, and he said, look, we have to follow the science. We have to follow the medical advice that we're given. And the news has not been good. You know, the governor here in Michigan said, look, if people aren't wearing their masks and this current trends continue, going back to school in the fall is iffy. The universities are looking at those numbers, but they have additional challenges because you have the kids in the classroom, for their 8 hours or 6 hours, but you also have the kids, back in the dorm rooms and whether they're going to the bars or whatever they're doing. So it's, and then those kids are interacting with athletes in class, and it's just going to be so tricky. What are you seeing as far as like testing when it comes to baseball's trying to play, basketball's trying to play? Kevin Warren said, look, we do have an advantage here of being able to watch these other sports try ahead of us and see how it goes. What are you seeing in other sports?
Well, I think baseball stumbled out of the gate, as you saw some teams that had to cancel their workouts because they weren't getting their tests back in time, so they didn't want to put their players out on the field. It seems, at least from the news cycle, that has calmed down since Monday, and we'll see where it goes from there. I think the question now is, okay, if you have the testing taken care of, how safe are you able to keep the players, and are you able to keep the players COVID-free as you move forward? Because baseball players are not in a bubble. Baseball players are going home after practice and in essence living their lives, whatever that is these days, but they are not in a protective environment where they're not exposed to things outside of the team circle. So I think the NFL, and as Kevin alluded to, college football have had some advantage here in that, in particular, I think the NFL, and I want people to understand what I'm saying, that they've been lucky, and there isn't a lot of luck involved in anything that's happened with this virus, but they have been lucky in the respect that they haven't had to put anybody on the field. This happened after their season. This didn't happen like hockey or basketball where you were going to the playoffs. It didn't happen like baseball where you're trying to start your season. The NFL has been able to conduct its business. They canceled their off-season in-person programs and made it virtual, but they had their draft. They had free agency. They went through a lot of the things that they normally go through, and they've been able to sit back, and I think this is what Kevin Warren's alluding to, been able to sit back and watch the other sports, what they do, and learn from them, and then apply that to them, giving them a better chance, quite frankly, of being successful. But it's still, like so many other things that we're dealing with, Kevin, we can plan all we want, but we're at the mercy of, as you alluded to a moment ago in Kevin's comments, are people taking care of themselves? Are people wearing masks? Are we doing everything we can to stop the spread of this virus? Because ultimately, everything that happens within society impacts the NFL, impacts college football, impacts baseball, impacts basketball. And it's just, we're watching to see how they do. Basketball players are just arriving in the bubble in Orlando. We don't know how that thing's going to hold up. That's a case study right now, because it's really the first league that has put their players in a position where they're just trying to keep them together and not allow them really into an outside environment outside of the protective bubble. So we're learning. I mean, it's sports is a microcosm of society. We're all learning about this virus. We've never been through anything like this before in our lifetime. It's been 100 years since the country's been through something like this. So what we think we know on Monday sometimes isn't the truth on Tuesday. And what we think we can plan for 3 weeks down the line is almost folly, because things change, on an hourly basis or daily basis with this virus, as we've seen with the rise and fall of tests in certain cities. So it's a long way of saying we're dealing with so many unknowns that we can study and we can watch and we can think that we've got this thing handled. But as we have found out in certain places, like I mentioned, Ohio State, North Carolina, best of intentions, testing their kids. But in the end, those kids are going home and they're going to wherever they're going, be it a bar or just, with their friends or anything that happens. They come back and all of a sudden they're positive, and then you've got a number of positive tests on the team, and you got to shut it down.
Yeah, if we were talking about college tennis, I might be optimistic, but with all the interaction on a football field, it's hard to see them being able to play in the fall. But we're hoping so. Dan Miller, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Kev, appreciate it, man. Thanks.
All right, have a great weekend. Let's check traffic with Rich Lazinski.
This report is sponsored by Ascension Care teams at GetAscensionMichiganCare.com. Ascension caregivers are here with you, and they're not going anywhere at this time. You can still get the care you need when you need it. They're making sure their hospitals and sites of care are safe and ready for you when you need them, in person and virtual visits. Get the care you need at GetAscensionMichiganCare.com.
WJR Traffic First is also sponsored by North Bloomfield Properties. If you're looking for a place to call home, let North Bloomfield Properties find the best place for you and your family. They also provide pre-screened quality tenants to their property owners. They love to match good people to good homes. Contact them today, northbloomfield.com. For the most part, folks are getting by pretty easily on the major freeways. The off-ramp is closed on I-69 westbound at Bristol Road due to an accident, and you're down to one lane on DeQuinder between Utica Road and Collins Avenue due to construction. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Starline Mackinac Island Ferry. Hightail it to Mackinac Island on a Starline Hydrojet or Catamaran Ferry, and now a new pirate ship, the Good Fortune. Starline offers the largest open-air boats disinfected before every trip, with fares starting at $19. Get discount tickets and vacation packages at MackinacFerry.com. That's MackinacFerry.com. Here's your forecast.
Couple of lines of showers and thunderstorms coming through. One as we head through this morning, and maybe a few more as we go through this afternoon and this evening. It doesn't rain every hour of the day, but those storms, when they come through, could have some gusty winds and hail, heavy rainfall, even a slight risk of a tornado. Today's high 86. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are still possible tonight, low 68. Gusty northwest wind. Tomorrow's a front does go through. Showers early, then partly cloudy in the afternoon, 84. Sunday clouds, sun 83. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging on News Talk 760 WJR.
If you have Michigan auto insurance, heads up, you've got big changes ahead. As of July 1st, all Michigan auto insurance plans will no longer automatically include lifetime coverage of medical expenses and more after an accident. Lower coverage might save you some money right now, but a serious accident could be costly in the future. Learn how to stay safe with full protection at driveprotected.org, funded by the Michigan Health and Hospital Association.
Head north with Wallstrom Marine, Northern Michigan's largest boat dealer and full-service marina. Visit their new and improved Traverse City location to check out their luxury lines and newly added brands, or get a free market evaluation on your current boat. Visit one of their 5 showroom locations or Wallstrom.com.
Technology is transforming every aspect of business. That's why Walsh and Kettering University have come together to create the Walsh Kettering Tech MBA. It combines an internationally ranked Walsh MBA with an engineering certificate from the renowned Kettering University. It provides graduates the senior leadership knowledge and skills needed to create advanced engineering solutions across a wide range of complex business and technology challenges. To find out more about the Walsh Kettering Tech MBA, go to walshcollege.edu.
As the economy makes its way back from the pandemic, you may have this question. Has your retirement plan and dreams made it back as well? Each week, Charles and David Bartman of the Senior Financial Center discuss ways to protect your hard-earned dollars that you've saved for retirement. Whether it's how to handle a pension, Social Security, healthcare, or that up-and-down stock market, you'll hear common sense, easy-to-understand advice with Charles and David Bartman. Tune in to Safer Income for Life, Saturdays at 2 p.m. here on News Talk 760 WJR.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
How did we ever come to the belief that we have no control over the inevitability of heart attack or stroke? That it was somehow predestined in our genes, inherited, or inevitable due to some random chance that outsmarted the medical field? We've come to accept these two fallacies, but the fact is that heart attack and stroke are 100% preventable, and cardiac disease is reversible. It's not in the genes, it's in your profile. It's time to take charge of your health. Call Dr. Brian Collender at 248-737-0091.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 6655 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 6655. Enjoy.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
With over 3 million cases of coronavirus in the United States, the members of the President's Coronavirus Task Force are learning an awful lot. On Thursday, Administrator Seema Verma hosted a virtual roundtable meeting to discuss the impact of COVID-19 on vulnerable populations in Michigan, with a focus on long-term care residents and facilities. Joining us now is the Administrator, Seema Verma. Thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so can you share with our listeners some of the highlights from the roundtable?
Well, first of all, it was great to talk to such amazing healthcare leaders and really appreciate all the hard work of the Michigan healthcare workers. They've done a great job. You know, the president wanted me to come and talk to folks because we just wanted to make sure that people are getting what they need, making sure that they know that the federal government is there to support them. Obviously, nursing homes have been devastated by the coronavirus, and that's understandable. We've got elderly individuals with underlying health conditions living in close quarters. And, you know, honestly, there's also been some misinformation about some of the policies. I think one of the things that we had heard that states were doing was forcing nursing homes to take patients coming out of the hospital. And we wanted to clarify some of the policies And I think the other conversation that we had with folks was, how do we also address quality of life for our nursing home residents? This has been a very difficult time for them and their families, being restricted from visitors. They can't even do a lot of the activities that they would normally do in nursing homes. And as you can imagine, that's having a tremendous impact on their mental health. So those were some of the issues that we talked about.
Yeah, and I've investigated over the years problems with nursing homes. It's tough. It was tough before COVID. It's even tougher now. You have the isolation, like you talked about. What about getting quality care workers during a pandemic? Has that been a challenge? Has that added to the issues that they're facing?
I think you're exactly right. Infection control in nursing homes has been a longstanding issue. We've been making that a focus of our survey. So even before all this happened, and we identified a lot of problems in nursing homes around infection control. In fact, 40% of the citations were around infection issues. That being said, that's why the president very early on said, I want the nation's surveyors to go into all the nursing homes and focus on infection control. So instead of doing a bigger, larger survey, we're going to focus specifically on this. Michigan did a great job with that. Most of the nursing homes were surveyed, and that's an opportunity for us to identify issues. I think we're also not trying to be punitive with nursing homes and just say, here's a problem and here's a fine. We're bringing in our quality improvement organizations, and these are folks that can go in and actually help the nursing home identify issues and make changes that are going to keep nursing homes safe. And so that was the other thing that I wanted to discuss with folks that are on the ground, that, here are some things that we can do to help you keep your residents safe.
What are a couple of those things?
Well, some of the things that we're recommending, obviously, as you would imagine, are just routine hand hygiene. We know that that's an issue, but some of the most important things are testing. We made a recommendation, Vice President, you heard this from Dr. Birx and the President as well, that we wanted to have all nursing home workers tested every single week. And that's important because, especially in those areas of the country where they're seeing significant community spread, and even in Michigan, I know you guys aren't necessarily at red, but you're at that phase where you may see an uptick in cases. And that means the virus is spreading in the community. And if it's spreading in the community, it can come into the nursing homes, and it can come in via those healthcare workers. So it's very important to screen the healthcare workers and test them every single week. We've also said, as a baseline, test all of your residents. And if there's any suspicion that there's an outbreak in the nursing home, go ahead and do that testing. So that's one of the things that we're working on. And we're trying to figure out solutions for the nursing homes to be able to do that testing in a cost-effective way and to get rapid turnaround times in terms of results, so they can take action. And then once they have that information, they can isolate those patients that are suspected of having coronavirus or that actually have it, and do cohorting. So maybe they put all the patients that have coronavirus together, and those that don't, they separate them.
Looking beyond senior facilities, what are some of the other major issues that the president's coronavirus task force is finding?
Well, I think one of the things that we're focused on is reopening the economy, reopening schools. The reality is the coronavirus is here. Like many other diseases, HIV, the flu, there are just things in our society that we're going to have to deal with, and coronavirus is one of them. And until we have a vaccine, we have to work with the American people to figure out, how do we go about our normal lives in a safe way? And so that's this week, the focus has been on reopening the schools.
And so how important is data accessibility for making these decisions?
Well, it's critical. I can tell you that every day at the task force meetings, we start with reviewing the data. We're looking at the number of cases in areas. We're looking at the amount of testing that's going on, the positivity rate. The other thing I think is important for people to understand is that the virus is moving differently in different parts of the country. And it's important for people to, understand in their community what's going on. So even when we hear about on the news, they'll say there's a lot of cases in Texas and Arizona and Florida. That's true. But a lot of times it's actually in one particular county or one particular area or region.
I know we're throwing a lot of money at trying to get a vaccine for this thing. Are you guys confident that sometime around the first of the year or the first quarter of the year that we'll have a vaccine?
Well, we're very hopeful. And, we're not only are the scientists rapidly trying to develop the vaccine, but we're also working at trying to, increase production. So when they approve a vaccine, it's ready to go and to be distributed to Americans to make them feel safe and to be protected from the coronavirus.
Well, it's an honor to have a member of the President's Coronavirus Task Force on the show today. Thanks for being with us, Seema Verma. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Kevin. Appreciate it.
All right, stay safe. Have a great weekend. Let's check traffic with Rich Lazinski.
This report is sponsored by California Closets. Now through August 31st, save up to 20% on any California closet system in one of their beautiful light-colored finishes. Call 248-624-1234 today to arrange your complimentary design consultation or visit them at their Commerce or Birmingham showrooms.
WJR Traffic First is also sponsored by Marathon Petroleum. Marathon, no matter where your travels take you, Marathon can improve your engine performance with quality top-tier gasoline. Marathon, fueling the American spirit. Expect slower conditions on I-75 in both directions between 7 Mile and Adams Road as that extensive construction project continues, and the off-ramp is closed on I-69 westbound at Bristol Road due to an accident. Now WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by IBEW Local 58 and the National Electrical Contractors Association. NECA, put the expertise and skill of NECA signatory contractors and IBEW electricians to work on your commercial, public, industrial, or residential construction.
Anne's back.
I'm back. That was great, Kev. Thank you. She was an excellent guest, wasn't she?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
She should be out speaking a little bit more.
I know. She just, there's none of that fighting that you hear with all the politics of it.
Yeah.
She's just like, all right, well, here's what we've learned about this, and this is what we're trying to do, and this is what will help. It's what you hope is going on behind the scenes.
Kind of made you feel good, like, oh.
Yeah, if you watch the news, it's just everybody's fighting and everybody's wrong, and everybody's it's a hoax, or it's this or it's that or whatever, But when you talk to people who are in the room with the data and trying to make decisions, you can see it's not easy for them to decide. She's like, we want to reopen, but we have to look at the numbers. We have to. It's not an easy job, right?
No, not an easy job, but I'm going to make a note that maybe we could get some more access to her, because I think it's good for people to hear conversations that are void of anything political,
Yeah. And we can learn so much. I mean, Detroit spiked so high, don't you want to know more about why that is? What were all the reasons, or because as that data comes in, they've been looking at that as like in an emergency basis, like, what can we do? We got to slow the spread down. But as time goes on, and you can look back, with more time, and you can find out a lot from the numbers as to what happened. And maybe there's something, on the front end we can be more prepared for. I have a feeling we're going to see more of this stuff.
Ooh,
you're done with me.
You went out for a minute there. Yeah. No, you're right. Not only is there something you could learn, but maybe there's something that you could do to avoid a future spike and keep us still going out and about and not completely shut down again. So very good. I like that.
Yeah. She's that's great. If she's willing to come back, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All righty.
All right, Kev, have a great weekend. Have a great weekend to all of our viewers.
Enjoy next week. Dave will be in the hot seat.
I corrected myself.
And we're still live, but Anne's frozen on our Facebook. There you are.
Have a great weekend. I think
you
too. Telling us to leave.
Exactly. Go get on with your weekend. All right, everyone, have a great weekend. Thanks for coming in. All right, see ya.